Felt it your entire life, that there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there. You can feel it.
Get up on out the bed and start to move your balls. Pick up a word, it's Solomon Jones. Word. You better wake up now.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you to another edition of Wake Up with Word. So, Kawais, I got up on time today. I got out the door on time today, had an extra few minutes, but I'm realizing while I'm driving down the street, like, why does my face feel so tight?
Wait.
You know what that is, right?
What
Why
is
do
that?
my hands feel so tight? Wait. I ain't put on no lotion.
Ooh, oh,
Right?
no.
So, you know, and ass shows on me. So I got to, I got to make an extra stop at the 7-Eleven to make sure I get this lotion. They got the little trial size lotion
Yeah.
selling, but they gagged me. They sell them for like $2.
Yeah. See, if you had waited, I have some lotion in the back. I haven't opened it. I could have easily. I'm sorry. I'm just,
I should have thought about that. Like, wait, Kawais is a black woman. She got everything in her
I
pocketbook.
do.
She
I
got
do.
lotion. I didn't think about that, though. I didn't think about that. I'm like, yo. So I had to stop and get some lotion, go back to my car, put on my mask, go back. You know what I mean? And but at least I'm moisturized.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
I know your skin appreciates
It
that.
does.
And the Facebook lovers will appreciate that as well.
Solomon looked extra shiny this morning. Yeah, I just put on some lotion. So, speaking of black women, a sister blew the whistle on the high rate of hysterectomies and medical neglect at an immigration detention facility in Georgia. Her name is Dawn Wooten, and she's a licensed practical nurse employed by the center, and she's represented by the Government Accountability Project and Project South, who protect whistleblowers. She stated in a complaint that while some women may have required a hysterectomy, everybody's uterus cannot be that bad. And hearing this black woman talk about the treatment of the immigrant women at this detention center, I was reminded, probably just as she was reminded, of the pain of black women during slavery, during Jim Crow, during our entire time in this country. The experiments, the rapes, the forced sterilization. I know some of us can't see ourselves in the experience of these immigrants, but the sooner we understand the similarity in our stories, the sooner we can see that their treatment mirrors our own, the sooner we understand that we're stronger when we band together, the better off all of us will be. We got a hot show for you today on Wake Up with Word. Temple journalism professor Lynn Washington on the Breonna Taylor settlement and what it means for future victims of police violence. Reporter Michaela Winberg of Billy Penn on virtual trauma support for Philly schools. Plus, your favorite cousin of mine, dear Melanie, has another hilarious answer to one of life's biggest questions. And as always, we've got you, our listeners, calling in at 215-634-8065, a toll-free 1-866-361-0900. Hit us on Twitter and Instagram at onWURD, or you can hit me personally at Solomon Jones 1. Watch us on Facebook at onWURD. But first, it's the big three, the news stories you need to know to kick off your day right here on Wake Up with Word. Story number one, hundreds of protesters exchanged chants and bars with the far outnumbered supporters of President Donald Trump from late afternoon into the night yesterday outside the National Constitution Center, where Trump participated in a town hall meeting, but no major physical clashes or arrests were reported. The protesters, led by Refuse Fascism, a national organization that's become a regular presence at appearances by Trump and Vice President Mike Pence, chanted, "We will not stop until they're gone," and held signs reading "No to Fascism" and "Hate never made us great" amid rush hour traffic on Market Street. And so, this is what's going to be happening as we move forward in this campaign. There are going to be protests. There are going to be confrontations. There's going to be all kinds of stuff that you haven't really seen in previous campaigns. This is a mess. I'm glad that there weren't any violent clashes like there have been in other cities, But I'm glad he's gone. Get out of Philadelphia, man. We ain't going to speak on you till we vote. Bottom line.
Yeah, I feel you on that. And it is. I mean, I feel that every American has their right to protest and things like that. I still am. For me at this point, it is not about. It's more about morality, and Trump has no morality. He really doesn't. And so when I look at people who continue to support this man, I'm like, well, you sit there and you say that you're not a racist, you say that you're not sexist, you say that you're not, certain things, and yet you continue to support someone like that. Well, birds of a feather. Y'all flock together. You really do. Because if you're not, even if you say that, this is not who you are still in support of someone who is. And so, I can't bang with it.
Yeah. And speaking of the election, of course, story number 2, concerns rising in Pennsylvania that tens of thousands of mail-in ballots will be discarded in the presidential election over technicalities. Officials in the battleground state told counties that they cannot reject a ballot solely because an election official believes a signature doesn't match the signature in the voter's file. The new guidance from Pennsylvania's Department of State prompted the League of Women Voters and the Urban League of Greater Pittsburgh to drop a lawsuit in federal court on Monday. The groups had sought to ensure that voters have the chance to fix ballots that are either missing signatures or flagged for a perceived signature mismatch. As a result of this case, Pennsylvania voters can cast their vote without fear that their ballot could be rejected solely because an election official who isn't trained in handwriting analysis thinks their signatures don't match. That's Mark Gaber, a campaign legal center lawyer who represented the groups in court. With 7 weeks until the November 3rd election in Pennsylvania, a partisan stalemate in Pennsylvania's capital is holding up legislation to fix glitches and gray areas in the state's mail-in voting law. Kawesa, more and more, the closer we get, the more I look at this, the more I hear about these lawsuits, the delays, the glitches, the gray areas. I'm probably going to vote in person.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I mean, seeing something like this would, this is a win. It really is a win. But at the same time, you really kind of think like, well, I feel like, well, I know in my heart that, there's going to be something else on the other side to try to counteract this or, try to make it more difficult for folks to vote and vote by mail. So, do what you have to do. I understand that people are nervous and they're scared and they don't necessarily want to go in. So do what you feel is in your heart to do, but just make sure you go out and vote. But yeah, I hear you. I think that I would want to go in person and vote. I don't even think in New Jersey I have the ability to do that. So I'm still doing some research on that. But this is a win. But yeah.
Absolutely, because they can't just reject your ballot based on a signature when really they what do you know about signatures? You know what I mean? I might have been sick that day. I might have been tired that day. I might have been shaky that day. I might have some kind of condition that makes me shake now where I didn't have that before. You don't know. You know what I mean? And so, given that they can't reject your ballot just on that, if it's that and some other things, okay. But if it's just based on that, nah, y'all can't read. And I think that is absolutely a win to make sure that people's votes get counted, which brings me to story number 3, my commentary for the day. I'm glad the city of Louisville agreed to pay Breonna Taylor's family $12 million months after Taylor was killed by police in her own home. It's the largest settlement ever paid in the killing of a black woman by police. And as Louisville Mayor Greg Fisher said of Taylor's mother, Tamika Palmer, I cannot begin to imagine Ms. Palmer's pain, and I am deeply, deeply sorry for Breonna's death. Well, guess what, Mayor Greg Fisher? You should be. Because plainclothes Louisville police burst into Taylor's home with a no-knock warrant. Breonna was doing nothing wrong, and when her boyfriend, a licensed gun owner, fired a single shot to defend her home against people whose identity he did not know, the cops fired 22 shots. They killed Breonna Taylor, and she did not deserve to die. So yes, Mr. Mayor, you should be sorry, and the cops who killed Breonna Taylor should be in jail. The state's attorney general is investigating, and we'll see if that actually happens. But Breonna Taylor's mother isn't having it. That's why she said this. It's time to move forward with the criminal charges because she deserves that and much more. As significant as today is, it's only the beginning of getting full justice for Breonna. But along with getting full justice for Breonna, there should be justice for the people. Because that $12 million, which Breonna's family deserves, should come from the cops who shot her. It should come from the commissioner who oversaw them. It should come from the mayor who's in charge. Instead, it comes from the taxpayers, and that's wrong. Lock up the cops who killed Breonna Taylor, charge the commissioner who ran that department, remove the mayor who allowed it to happen. That will be justice for Breonna. That will be justice for us all. I want to hear from you. Is $12 million enough when the people who killed Breonna Taylor are still walking around? I don't think so. But I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. I know for me, man, if something like that happened to one of my kids, no amount of money could take away the heartache. No amount of money could take away the pain. No amount of money could bring them back. And so, yeah, the $12 million is nice. And certainly, I hope that that creates generational wealth for her family. That's what I hope happens, right? But that can't bring her back. And that's not justice. That's money. Money does not equal justice. The people who killed Breonna Taylor, the cops who killed Breonna Taylor need to be in jail. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are in these various things we are talking about on this morning's show. But I also want to talk about something else, a little bit offbeat for us. But I need to talk about Cardi B just a little bit, right? Cardi B, of course, is a very popular rapper. She's married to another rapper named Offset, and she's filed for divorce, citing infidelity, right? Cheating. Now, Cardi B's famous song is called WAP. I can't tell you what that stands for, but I can tell you that it has a lot to do with sex. Okay, it has everything to do with sex, and it's ironic that she's getting divorced over infidelity, right? Given that she got the WAP. So I'm saying, you know, if the WAP ain't enough, right? If that's not enough, you know, what is? And I want to ask a serious question. I mean, it's kind of lighthearted, but it's a serious question. What is the most important thing in a relationship? What is the most important thing in a relationship? In other words, you know, what is the thing that keeps you there? What is the thing that keeps it going? What is the thing that holds it together? What's the most important thing in a relationship? And I would even add in a black relationship. Like, what's the most important thing in a relationship? What holds that relationship together? I want to hear your answers this morning on WURD, and let us know what you think about that. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things that we're talking about on this morning's show. I know for me, Kawesa, one of the really important things in a relationship, we have to be able to laugh together. Like, I like to, you know what I mean? I like to laugh. Like, you gotta have a sense of humor. If you ain't got no sense of humor, we ain't got a whole lot to talk about. For real.
Yeah, I hear you on that.
You know?
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely important. Laughter. You know, for me, I think it's laughter, honesty, you know, being able to support one another, and then also you know, of course, you know, you got to be faithful, but the other piece, I think, for me as well, is that, you know, you got to fight for your marriage. You got to fight for the people that you love. Like, I don't like quitters. I don't like people who give up, you know. So, like, if you can fight as hard as you can, and then it's like, oh, you know, it's not gonna work out, then okay, you know, then do what you got to do. But, you know, if you love someone, and you got to fight to make it work, and you know, communication is key. It really is. So
Yeah, it is.
There's a lot of things. But.
There's a lot of things. So what is the most important thing? I need y'all to give me one thing. What is the thing that holds a relationship together? 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. My wife said this morning, tongue in cheek, if there's no hope for Cardi B, man, what hope is it for mere mortals like me? I'm like, Girl, we've been married 20 years. What you talking about? What are you talking about? 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we are talking about on a morning show. What are the things that hold a black relationship together? I want to know. Give me one. Give me a call. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let's go to Bahia from West Philly on line 2. Go ahead, Bahia.
I think trust is the most important thing for me.
Yep.
Without trust, I mean, he makes me laugh and all that. I understand he plays too much, let him play too much.
Mm-hmm.
But trust is the most important thing for me.
Mm-hmm. Love it. Love it. You are absolutely right. And I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. What is the thing that holds a relationship together? You know, I say that because I looked at the news that Cardi B is getting divorced. Here's a woman who is, she's beautiful, she's successful, and, you know, had been married for 3 years to fellow rapper Offset. And she's getting divorced because of infidelity, which is ironic given that her most popular song is all about sex, right? And so if that's not enough, really, what is the thing that holds a relationship, and especially a black relationship, together? I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we are talking about on this morning show. Malik from Mount Airy is on line 1. Go ahead, Malik.
Good morning, Word family.
Morning, brother.
Solomon and Queen Croatia. I would say quality time is really important.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as Breonna Taylor in St. Louis and the mayor and the attorney general and everybody all the way up the chain, if you're going to tell me $12 million, I guess that's my shut-up money, you only aggravate me even more because you're going to tell me it's okay. You still tell me it's okay that these murderers are going to walk the street. And you broke in my house. I defended myself. Then you arrested me for defending myself. And eventually you let me out, but you shot and killed somebody sleeping. There's literally no threat to you. So I'm trying to figure this out. What do you mean you're trying to understand her pain? Understand her pain by prosecuting her killers. Get rid of that, that immunity that seems to protect all police, and forget taking it out of the taxpayers. Take it out of the billions and billions and billions of dollars that the federal, like whatever that the police union is. Take it out of their pocket. And I guarantee you, those shootings, as you start doing that money, their retirement money starts dwindling away. I guarantee you, police shootings will end tomorrow. Because then now it's really affecting them because their pension plan is gone. So that's what I have to say.
All right.
I thank you, and y'all have a great day.
All right, brother. Thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. Of course, we got a full bank of calls. We are going to go to break, and on the other side of this break, is $12 million enough to get justice for Breonna Taylor? I don't think so, but I want to know what you think. Give me a call about that. And of course, with the divorce of Cardi B and Offset, what is the most important thing that holds a black relationship together? I want to know what you think. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
The Murray Report.
Bringing you the latest in sports news and opinions.
Hosted by Chris Murray. Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Right here on Word Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Streaming live on wordradio.com and on the Word Radio app.
Recovery starts with a call. Pennsylvania's Substance Use Disorder Hotline is staffed by real people who are trained to help. They're here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They'll get you or your loved one into treatment regardless of your access to insurance. If you or someone you know is suffering from addiction, call 1-800-662-HELP. Recovery starts with a call.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM.
WURD.
Always Best Care is a great place to work. Flexibility,
Leadership. Purpose.
great benefits.
There's never a dull moment.
Diversity, inclusion, compasión.
We love our jobs. If you're looking for a great place to work, you can join our compassionate Team Green. You can apply online at teamgreenabc.com or call 267-909-9248.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Now, a traffic update.
On Word Radio.
Good morning. Big jam in New Jersey, 42 northbound from 41 up to 130. All that because of an accident now being worked on 55 northbound Deptford into 42. You're jammed up there this morning. Southbound 95, that is a heavy ride through the construction, Cotman through Bridge. Then you're jammed approaching Betsy Ross, an accident there off to the left causing a heavy ride. Northbound side, no problems. Westbound on the Schuylkill Expressway, that jams from Bear Avenue through 30th Street down the one lane with that construction. Eastbound side, Montgomery through Spring Garden, you're slow. Westbound by delays 8th out to Broadigan Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. Staples helps your business with everything from office essentials to health essentials, all at amazing prices. This week, Apple AirPods Pros are just $199. That's a $50 savings. Offer ends $919 while supplies last. Limit 2. Save big this week at Staples. For more traffic information, log on to SIGAlert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
You're waking up
With Word.
hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on Word Radio
96.1 FM.
and 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. And I want to talk to you this morning about a couple of things. So we're talking about Breonna Taylor. Her family got a $12 million settlement from the city of Louisville. I think that is nice. I think that's a start. I hope that it creates generational wealth for her family. But that's not justice in my view. Money can't bring back my child. Money can't heal this wound in my heart. Money can't replace who she would have been in our family, in our community. Money can't do any of that. And given that her killers are still walking around, my question is the money enough? I want to know what you think about that. And also, I'm watching and seeing what's happening in relationships. And I'm thinking about Cardi B. She is a very successful rapper. She is reaching a point of being a cultural icon. She interviewed Joe Biden. You understand what I'm saying? She is somebody who's very influential, somebody who is attractive and successful. And she just filed for divorce from her husband after 3 years of marriage. And cited infidelity as the reason. And I thought that was ironic, given that much of her music, and especially her biggest hit, is all about sex, right? It's called WAP. Y'all can look that up, see what that means. But if that is not enough, my question is this. What holds a relationship, and especially a black relationship, together? I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio, and let us know where you are in these various things we're talking about on this morning show. Gail from the Northeast is online too. Go ahead, Gail.
Good morning, Solomon and Quisa.
Good morning.
As far as I'm looking at Cardi B, she's just the history there. You knew it was coming. It was just a matter of time. You didn't know when it was going to happen, but it was just a matter of time. But if they had trust, honesty, and communication, a lot of things really are there because you're talking, you trust people, and in that industry when they make these things happen, it's a lot of that is left out, and it's really sad. As far as Breonna Taylor, I just feel for I feel for the mother, because no amount of money can replace your child.
Nope.
And the bottom line is, why are the taxpayers being held accountable for a murder that they didn't even do? And the bottom line is, until we hold police, you will hold teachers accountable if they find a mark or if they throw something, but they let the cops run rampant. They don't take their pensions. They still, sometimes even convicted, come back and they get full pensions, go somewhere else and work. We got to really stop. We got to really stop that. And that's institutionalized racism, because it is in the institutions, in the legislation. And when you say they need to go to the cop, the chief of police, the mayor, and you have to go up and change those arbitration and laws that they hold these cops in these places.
Yeah.
Thank you, Solomon.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your call this morning on WURD Radio. One thing, give me one thing that is essential, one thing that holds a relationship, and especially a black relationship, together. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Also, Breonna Taylor's family gets $12 million. Is that enough? Diane from South Philly is on line 3. Go ahead, Diane.
Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning.
You start first thing in the morning. Us black women ain't get out the bed yet. Queen of Waster. What holds it? God holds it. Christian counseling holds it.
Mm-hmm.
Equally yoked holds it. Those are the things that hold that make the marriage work. I look at Carly B. Did she have any of those things? We don't know. But apparently they didn't. They didn't, because the one thing, if you're doing your thing as a rapper, and then you're doing your sneaky things as a rapper too, it's not equally, or they had nothing in common. Communication, respect. I got your back. You're my chicken and potato salad. All those things keeps a marriage together. Breonna Taylor, oh my God.
Yeah.
$12 million will never bring back the hugs, the kisses, the words. Mommy and Daddy, I love you. Or what we do. None of that. The community, the world, they need to go and get the murderers, and they're back to work. And another thing I want to say, Solomon, that town hall meeting, the Reverend, listen, Trump never answered his question.
Yeah.
And Don Lemon made it clear. He never answered it. He didn't answer what he always works around the question.
Yeah.
He's like a run-on sentence with no comma, no period. That's it. Solomon, oh God, don't you start first thing in the morning. You want to do something? Here's the question: where are the black men for the black women? There's your topic.
Ooh.
There's too many single women out here
that
don't have a man. I don't know. Last time I dated was 2005. And that doesn't make any sense, because we are functional black women out here, and we're from the rib. We should have a functional black man with us. And the one thing they need to do, they need to stop these stop and goes opening at 7 and 6 o'clock in the morning. That's why I can't find my man, because he's out there drinking.
Lord have mercy.
Well, you started it. I'm going to finish it.
I know that's right. You did. You just dropped the mic. Diane, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, she's right. I mean, it's a lot of brothers out here who are not ready to be married. And part of that is before you get into a relationship with somebody else, you got to get yourself together. You know what I mean? You got to at least be on the path, right? And it's interesting because when I met my wife, we were both 30, right? When I re-met her. I kind of met her in high school, but we traveled in different circles because she was a goody two-shoes and I wasn't. But when we met later on, we were both like 30 years old and lived with our parents. Like I had been gone and come back and messed up and was in school and really had a vision for what it was that I wanted to be, right? And so I'm back in school and I'm doing my thing and I'm serious about it. I'm on the dean's list, but I'm living with my mom. I have nothing. I don't have no money, right? I ain't had a 3 C's, cash, car, and crib. I ain't had none of that, right? But I had a vision for what it was I wanted to be. And so we started to date and, over time, with us working together, I was able to attain some of the things that I wanted to have, and able to build the kind of character that I wanted to have, right? And so sometimes we look at people and it's like, okay, what things do they have? And you got a list of things that you want them to have. And guess what? Things don't hold a relationship together. You know what I mean? You can have all the things in the world, but if your character is not right, those things ain't going to be there anyway. So the question is, what is the thing? What is the thing that holds a relationship, and especially a black relationship, together? I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Erica from Chicago is on line 4. Go ahead, Erica.
Hey, good morning, Solomon.
Good morning.
We're family. So I completely agree with what everybody said about Breonna Taylor. When I saw what they said yesterday, I was livid. Mm-hmm. And so I really hope that her family gets peace and, really justice. And I hope they sue every single person involved in it in addition to pushing for criminal charges. And I do not understand how the police have this much power in every single profession. You do something slick, you will be held accountable for that. And so I'm just praying that for that change. Mm-hmm. And then unfortunately, you see the same cycle and story when it comes to the whole Cardi B narrative, and people are saying one thing and living another way. You ultimately ends up in demise if you don't start it the right way. But I cannot give you one thing. I got to give you 3.
All right.
So my 3 things are faith, fun, and fried chicken. I say that because my faith and my husband and I ground us. We have lots of fun together, and when he makes me mad, this man will fry some fried chicken, and it's all done. It's all over, and I love it. I love him for that. So that's my 3.
All right, I hear you. I love it. Faith, fun, and fried chicken. Yeah, I like that. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. What holds a relationship, and especially a black relationship, together? Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. Let's go to Derek from North Philly on line 1. Go ahead, Derek.
Good morning, Brother Solomon.
Good morning.
Peace, blessings, and prosperity.
Same to you.
Thank you, my brother. That's what I think keeps a relationship together, Solomon. Love, peace, blessings, and prosperity.
Okay.
And concerning Breonna Taylor, this world is evil, Solomon, and money is the root of it. Mm-hmm. So, no, it's not going to suffice, but I like the way how you said, may it help be a generational help.
Yeah.
Thank you, Solomon.
Yep, no doubt, man. I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. Give us a call. Let us know where you are on these various things we are talking about on this morning show. Of course, you can also weigh in on Facebook at 4Word. What are they saying, Kawesa, this morning on Facebook?
So we do have a few comments here. First one I'm going to read, I don't fully agree with, but okay. Amir Ali, one reason Islam allows more than one wife, so women are out here married and not all these single women. Okay. I'm going to keep that going here. Charlene Murray, holding a black relationship together, truth, honesty, loyalty. Sex is not marriage. Money ain't everything. True friendship first, then let the ball fall where it may. So that's another comment there. And then A. Malik Stewart is saying, just talking about the conversation with the police. I say take it out of their pension plan. Phyllis Williams, I think it's trust that holds a relationship together. Rovetta Everett Gilmore, what holds our marriage together is knowing we have each other's back and our respect and trust. So that's another comment. Bosie Slaughter, good morning to you. Cheryl Brown, good morning to you as well. Phyllis Williams laughing at the fried chicken comment. So that's another thing. Seth Michelle, yes, says love it. Faith, fun, and fried chicken. And then we also have Malik Stewart saying again, not again, but saying sex is not the glue to any relationship. And also good morning to Shirley J. Carter as well, and Casa, who thank you all so much for tuning in.
Yeah. We're getting some good answers on the relationship question. I know for me that there's got to be some laughter. There's got to be some laughter. And it's funny, when I think back on, like, people I dated and relationships, and, my mother, if I brought a young lady in front of my mother, I would know by the look on her face whether or not this was somebody for me or not. And, when you're younger, you tend to, you want to rebel against what your parents say, right? But she was always right. I mean, always. I mean, every single time she was right, 100% right. You understand? But you don't realize that till you're about 30 years old. Then you start reflecting and realizing that your parents were right. There was another person whose opinion I respected a lot. I call her my Jewish mother, Susan Jacobs. She and I have had a long friendship going back over 20 years. And when I was dating one young lady, I introduced her to Sue. And, we sat and we had dinner, and Sue pulled me aside and said, she's not smart enough for you. You know what I mean? And you know what? She was right. You have to be able to have a conversation. And if you can't talk to each other and can't really communicate with each other, on the same level, after a while, you're going to get bored. You can't stay together if you can't talk to each other. So communication, I think, is another thing, especially for somebody who likes to communicate. And that's who I am. And so I think there's a lot, man. There's a lot that holds relationships together. And I want to know what you think. So give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we are talking about on this morning's show. Also, Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor's family, of course, got $12 million from the city of Louisville. I think one of the things that I don't like about that is that money comes out of taxpayers' pockets, Kwesa. That ain't coming from the people who did it. That's coming from the taxpayers. You know, nah, man, the person who did it needs to be paying. They still keep their jobs, still keep their pensions, still keep their benefits, Nah, you need to be paying out of your pocket. It was one of the demands we had with the Rally for Justice Coalition that, no, when police are sued, the money needs to come out of their pocket, not mine. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Gloria from Sharon Hill is on line one. Go ahead, Gloria.
Hi, good morning, Solomon. We're family Kuwaisa. Hi, Solomon.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, I'm kind of sleepy. I just woke up not too long ago myself. But I'm off today, thank God. But anyway, no, they need to pay for what they did to Breonna, not the taxpayers. They need to pay. The policemen, the ones that shot her, come out there and every time and hit them right where it hurts, right in their pocket. They need to be in jail.
Yeah.
But let me do that. I'll get it. They'll come and get me, honey. I know they'll come and get because of the color of my skin, number one. Okay? I'm telling you, it's not right. But anyway, I was just told something the other day. You was talking about, and that, what is that? Oh, Lord, I don't want to hook your time. Oh, what was it? Oh, I know what it was. If you're an old head, if one of the guys on the corner asks, can I stand a chance with you? That's what they would do.
That's it.
The girl, they're like, can I stand a chance with you?
Can I stand a chance?
They'll see a whole lot of girls walk by. They say, you're the finest thing I've seen all day. So, about 25 girls already. They're the finest thing I've seen all day.
Oh, man.
And if you say, and when you find a black kitchen, an old broken down colander, strained with the handles loose.
Yeah, and we're still using it. I'm using that joint till it's done.
And the coffee percolator, put the coffee grounds in there, and put this on the stove. That's another thing that a black Christian has. All right, have a good day.
All right, thank you so much. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to continue the conversation right here on WURD.
He knew. Donald Trump knew how deadly COVID was months ago, and he lied about it. Just listen.
Now it's turning out it's not just old people, Bob. Just today and yesterday, some startling facts came out. It's not just older young people, to plenty of young people.
Donald Trump knew as early as February just how deadly COVID was before anyone even died, and he did nothing about it. His indifference cost tens of thousands of black lives.
It goes through air, Bob. You just breathe the air. That's how it's passed. It's also more deadly than even your strenuous flus.
Nearly 200,000 dead. 1 in 5 are black. This virus is literally killing us, and Trump did nothing to stop it.
Well, I think, Bob, really, to be honest with you, I wanted to always play it down. I still like playing it down because I don't want to create a panic.
Too late, Mr. President.
I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Biden for president.
Support independent black media and join the 4WORD movement now at 215-425-7875.
Or visit wordradio.com.
Dietz & Watson has been making premium meats and artisan cheeses for over 80 years. And when it comes to stacking sandwiches and party platters, they've got something for everyone in the family, like maple honey turkey breast, American cheese, buffalo chicken, and more. So get to your local deli and taste 4 generations of family recipes. With Dietz & Watson on the table, you'll have everyone coming back for seconds and thirds. Dietz & Watson, it's a family thing since 1939.
Enterprise Exterminators, located 4943 Wayne Avenue, specializing in lantern flies, termites, bed bugs, fleas, mice, and roaches. Do-it-yourself kits are available. Call now, 215-849-7070.
Livelihood, the new initiative from WORD Radio, connecting Philadelphians to jobs, entrepreneurship opportunities, small business resources, and financial literacy. Visit WURDworks.com right now and take the next step in your professional journey. Livelihood is supported by the Nightland Fest's Local News Transformation Fund, Borealis Philanthropies Racial Equity and Journalism Fund, and the Solutions Journalism Network. Now, a traffic update
on WORD Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Staples Stores. Some volume out there in a couple of spots this morning. Schuylkill Expressway westbound Jam University through 30th. That's because of ongoing construction down to one lane. Make it there to 30th. Eastbound side heavy Montgomery through Spring Garden. Westbound Vine 8th Street all the way through the Schuylkill Expressway busy. Southbound 95, that's heavy Cotman through Bridge through construction. Again, Betsy Ross through Girard. Further south, Blue Route through the Commodore Barry. At a jam there. Northbound 95, that is moving fine still this morning. Looking at 42 northbound, you're still going to find that a busy ride from 55 through 295, 55 North Deptford into 42 slow. Staples helps your business with everything from office essentials to health essentials, all at amazing prices. This week, Apple AirPod Pros are at just $199. That's a $50 savings. Offer ends at $9.19 while supplies last. Limit 2. Save big this week at Staples. For more traffic information, log on to SIGAlert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on WORD Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. I want to hear from you. We're talking about a number of things, including the $12 million settlement that the city of Louisville paid to Breonna Taylor. We're going to be talking with Lynn Washington about that in just a few. But I want to know what you think. Is that justice? Give us a call. Let us know. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in on the conversation. And also, in light of Cardi B getting divorced from the rapper Offset, lovely young woman, very popular, very rich, very influential, very successful, not only in the rap world, but I think beyond. She just got a contract with Balenciaga to be the face of Balenciaga. Balenciaga, of course, a high-level designer. They sell, for example, cloth sneakers for $800 with Balenciaga written on the side, right? So Cardi B is the face of Balenciaga, and you know, given that she is so successful and you know, had been married for 3 years, a lot of her songs, her material, a lot of it is about sex. Her most popular song is called WAP. You can look that up, see what that stands for. But she's getting divorced, and the reason is infidelity. So given that sex is really not enough, right, to hold a relationship together, I want to hear from you. What is the thing? What is the thing that holds a relationship, and especially a black relationship, together? I want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are in these various things we are talking about on this morning's show. I'm going to take it for granted that if you listen to me, you plan to vote. My question is how? Because I have ordered my absentee ballot. I have ordered that, right? And I'm still really contemplating whether or not to use that or whether to go in person. I want to know what you think. You give me a call. Let me know, how are you going to be going to vote in this election? 215-634-8065. You can also weigh in on Facebook at ForWord. That's FORWURD. And let us know where you are on any of these topics we're talking about on this morning's show. Kawesa, what are they saying this morning on Facebook?
So a few more comments here. Ravetta Everett Gilmore, I believe any money an officer has in their pension plan and 401k, 401k should go toward paying the lawsuit amount. They may think twice if they are held accountable financially and criminally. The fact that we pay the lawsuit means there are no consequences financially and most times criminally for officers. So that's one comment. Edwin Bowell says Crump is going to be a billionaire one day, and he's at all the major incidents. So that's another comment here. Deborah Dorn Carter, I was going to mail my vote in, but I don't trust the system. And I hear you on that. I really do. Charlene Murray, I agree with everyone that it isn't the citizens' place to pay for their bad behaviors, but they feel that they are privileged, so therefore I don't have to pay. And I don't need to go to jail because I did nothing in their minds, nothing wrong. So that's another comment. And Letitia Barnes says, is $12 million really tax dollars or insurance claim money? And then I think I saw one more comment here. Steph Michelle, saying the citizens should not have to fit the bill for police officers who kill, abuse, or harass people. Start with their pensions, and they should have to have insurance for incidents like this. It should not have to come out of taxpayers' money. I pray Breonna Taylor's family can find peace, justice, and purpose even in this tragedy. I would want to know the insurance company that would take something like this on, knowing that, you know, you got officers out here doing this kind of stuff. I wouldn't even want to. They would be too much of a liability.
Yeah. It is crazy, but you know, it's the municipal government. Wherever they are employed, that government pays that money, and that money is your tax dollars. So you're paying. Not only are you paying for people to patrol your community who are killing you, but then when they are sued and they lose, you're footing the bill for them killing you. And it's just, you know, come on, man. That needs to be revamped. Some of that money need to come out of their pocket. Otherwise, what's the incentive for them to stop? You know, and the shame of it is this, that the vast majority, and I have to say, the vast majority of them ain't out here killing people. You know what I mean? But for those who do, y'all need to pay. You need to pay out of your pocket when you do that. And you need to go to jail. Like, there needs to be if there's no consequence, why should you stop? Seriously. Think about it. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Let's go back to the phone lines. Viola from Millsboro, Delaware is on line 1. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm great. I can't complain about a thing. But when you said something about voting, yesterday I worked the polls down here in Millsboro, Delaware, and out of maybe 3,500 people on roll, we had 487 people show up to vote for the primary. Our primary is late. But
out of how many people on the roll?
About 3,500.
Okay, and you only had 400 show up for the primary.
487.
Almost 500. Okay.
A lot of them probably did absentee. Some came in and said they had absentee, but they decided they would come in person. Out of that 487, I should have started counting, and I usually do. I'll say I saw, African Americans that I knew. I greeted them well, and there was some new faces that I saw that I don't know whether they were from the neighborhood or not, but I noticed that there were a number of new voters that were voting for the first time. But it had to be at least maybe 30 African Americans out of that 487. I will be working the poll again on the general election November the 3rd, and I will try my best to make sure I kind of keep count. Yeah. We had a very new computerized machine that we only knew who was Democrat or Republican based on when we put it on their license and their name came up. So we did which one. But there was a few African Americans that were Republican. A husband and a wife. The wife was Republican and the husband was a Democrat. And a couple of people wore their Trump hats and shirts inside. We had the guy that I was working with, he said something to him, but one was smart and said, well, there should have been something on the door. Well, I thought he was very rude. But in the meantime, based on marriage, Solomon, I was married to my husband 44 years. Out of 16 grandchildren, I was the only one that was still with the husband. Out of his mother's 7 children, we were the only ones that was original marriage out of her 5 boys. Her daughters were still with their husbands. But trust is number one. My husband worked for SEPTA. So anytime somebody saw that BMW going up the street, hey, Frank, I saw your wife so-and-so, so-and-so. But my husband always said that if he couldn't put his hands on me doing something wrong, nobody could never bring anything back to him and tell him anything on me. And I think trust was the major thing that we had because he was a reservist, so he was gone 2 weeks out of the year, once a month. But my husband was a fantastic cook. And he loved cooking, and I loved laying in bed eating his food. So I go with the lady that said food, fun, and fried chicken. And my husband could fry some chicken.
All right, Viola, I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. We certainly appreciate that. And those words of wisdom as well. I mean, look, if you could fry some chicken, you got me on chicken. I ain't going to lie. You know what I mean? And y'all can think what you want, stereotype, whatever. Yeah, I like fried chicken. I do. And my wife can fry some chicken. But I remember when we first started dating, Kawesa, she made these hot wings, right? And they were like really, really hot.
Oh.
Like hot to the point like I can't eat this, but I ate it anyway. Because I liked her. I'm like, man, I'm going to eat this. I'm going to act like this is good. You know?
Do what you got to do.
Do what you got to do. Man, them wings were so hot. And then I tried to cook her something right now. I can't cook. I cooked some spaghetti. And I don't think I put, like, sugar in the spaghetti sauce. Like, you got to.
It was, like, acidic.
Yeah,
like
so,
sour.
yeah, she ate it. She ate it anyway. She ate it anyway.
Because I love you.
But, over the years, she's become a really good cook. And, So yeah, that's important. That's important. I want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. What holds a relationship, and especially a black relationship, together? One of the things I found interesting, Kawesa, is nobody has said money. You notice that?
Yeah.
Nobody said money.
I think because, I'm not trying to put all of us black folks in one category, but I think because of the fact that, a lot of us don't necessarily come from money, we understand what it means to work and hustle and get those coins in our pocket. And so I think that for the most part, not saying all, but I feel like most of us can appreciate, and we know how to live without it, and we know how to live with it. And so I think that you start to recognize that, we could be okay if we have to, pinch our coins a little bit. I think that's, and I think that we don't need it. That's not the major thing for us.
That's not the thing. And you would. So I look at Melania, right, and I'm like, man, you would just. But I guess she like, look, we got money. We got money, and now we got power. And, I know he crazy, and I don't really want to hold his hand in public. And, I hear the women talking about he raped them and all of this stuff. But, I'm just here so I don't get fined. She like Marshawn Lynch. You know what I mean? Like, I'm here for the money. And after a while, like, can you really stay with somebody that you don't really love for money? I couldn't do it. I'm be honest with you, because I need to be able to talk to you. I need to be able to lean on you. I need you to be a help to me. I need you to be somebody who, who's going to ride or die. Like, I don't need your money. I get my own money. You know what I mean? Like, so we're going to continue to talk about that. But on the other side of this break, we're going to talk with Lynn Washington about the Breonna Taylor case, because we need to know, is $12 million justice? Lynn Washington breaks it down on the other side. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
This is Councilman Kenyatta Johnson. We need every Philadelphian to be counted in the 2020 census to get the funding we need to recover from the challenges of COVID-19. The census brings funding to Philly for education, health care, food support, public safety, and more. For every person who isn't counted, Philly loses $21,000 in funds over the next decade. You have until September 30th to get counted. Go to www.2020census.gov or call 1-844-330-2020. Don't delay. Get counted, Philly.
Justice, equality, accountability. These are the values we need in our leaders to bring us together and be the America we know we can be. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are those leaders. Joe Biden has the experience to fix our broken economy. He's done it before and he'll do it again. And our own Kamala Harris is ready to lead. As senator, she championed education, health care, and criminal justice reform. And with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in charge, we know the White House will be accountable to our community. For 4 years, our country has been run by inexperience and corruption, but we have the chance to turn it around with values rooted in our common goals and the leadership of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Paid for by Black PAC and Unite the Country. www.blackpac.com and www.unitethecountry.com, which are responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
I would like to play a little tune I just composed not so long ago.
Hey family, do you like hearing the best jazz selections aired by 3 of the best jazz announcers in Philadelphia? Well, tune in to 96.1 FM,
96.1 FM,
and 900 AM, WURD Radio, independent black media for Freedom Sounds of Jazz.
Freedom Sounds of Jazz.
Hear Freedom Sounds of Jazz 10 p.m. Fridays with your hosts in rotation, Aquila, Jonathan Bay, and David Fritz. That's 10 p.m. Friday nights on WURD 96.1 FM and 900 AM, independent black media.
Lifting every voice
till earth and heaven ring.
This is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
Black Talk Media.
Now, a traffic update
on Word Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Staples Stores. Some volume out there in a couple of spots this morning. Schuylkill Expressway westbound Jam University through 30th. That's because of ongoing construction down the one lane. Make it there to 30th. Eastbound side Heavy Montgomery through Spring Garden. Westbound Vine 8th Street all the way through the Schuylkill Expressway busy. Southbound 95, that's Heavy Cotman through Bridge through construction. Again, Betsy Ross through Girard. Further south, Blue Route through the Commodore Barry. At a jam there. Northbound 95, that is moving fine still this morning. Looking at 42 northbound, you're still going to find that a busy ride from 55 through 295, 55 North Deptford into 42 slow. Staples helps your business with everything from office essentials to health essentials, all at amazing prices. This week, Apple AirPod Pros are just $199. That's a $50 savings. Offer ends at $9.19 while supplies last. Limit 2. Save big this week at Staples. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
What we saw was misconduct by police. As Malcolm X said, American democracy is nothing but disguised hypocrisy. If you did see the video and you did nothing, you need to go.
And now, Lynn Washington, only on Wake Up with Word.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. Joining us now is Lynn Washington, Jr. He's a professor of journalism at Temple University, where he's co-founder of the award-winning Multimedia Urban Reporting Lab. In addition to his Temple degrees, Washington holds a law degree from Yale University. Lynn, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Solomon. How you doing, buddy?
Man, I'm trying to make it, Lynn. I'm trying to make it. You know, this stuff is crazy. It is absolutely crazy.
Oh, hey, Solomon. Understatement, my man.
But I want to talk about Breonna Taylor because her family got a $12 million settlement from the city of Louisville. And my question is this: should some of that money be paid by the officers who shot her? And when will her killers be arrested, if at all?
The reality is, yes, the police should be individually liable for acts of brutality. So that's clear. That $12 million, it'll help, as you mentioned earlier this morning. It could help create some generational wealth in that family, but it won't bring the young lady back, which is bad. That $12 million is not going to do anything to help alleviate the 30% poverty among blacks in Louisville. That $12 million settlement is about 11 times more than what the city of Louisville gives to its Office for Safe and Healthy Communities, a agency that supposedly is to provide secure and free from violence environment for everybody. Apparently not for black people, because one of the complaints that was filed by Ms. Taylor's lawyers was that this whole incident, at the bottom of it, was an effort to help speed up a gentrification of a black neighborhood. Now, your question of whether these police officers will be held accountable, that is the big question now. I mean, we're like 6 months out from her murder. They're still wondering, should we bring charges against them or not? They're trying to say that the police officers who engaged in improper conduct, that search warrant was defective. They claimed, an officer who wasn't part of this trio claimed that he saw the former boyfriend at some point go in and out of the house carrying packages, which he felt had drugs in it. The post office said there was nothing improper delivered to that house. So I'm just saying that warrant was defective. But they're claiming that because the police officers broke into that house under a defective warrant and engaging in improper conduct by not identifying themselves. Because they were fired upon, then they have the right to self-defense. So legally, they're saying that, some people are saying, if I could act like the president, some people were saying, hey, nobody's saying this, but you're lying. No, that's a whole other topic. But anyway, they're saying that because it was a self-defense situation, they were fired upon, then it would be difficult to bring charges against them. Now, if it was you or me,
that's right,
Raisa, or any of your listeners, it wouldn't be no problem.
Nope.
Then they throw it up against the wall and see what sticks. So this is yet another evidence of more evidence of the disparity of justice that our communities endure. So we'll wait and see. We'll see. You got a black attorney general down there, the same dark. I'm sorry. The same gentleman who appeared at the GOP convention, and try to mitigate the racist in chief for not being a racist. Yeah. So it's a mess, but America is a mess. And as the pastor who appeared at the Live Fest last night down at the convention center, he said, when has America ever been great for black people? And this is yet another example of that. The police officers who were involved in that, all of them, all three of them, had histories of brutality, complaints filed against them. And nothing was done. And then we see what happens when you have brutal officers out. Yeah. One of the officers who is still working in 2016 shot a man 11 times and got away with it. One of them who is still working was reprimanded by the police department in 2018 for using excessive force, which is otherwise known as police brutality. And the dude who was fired for shooting wantonly in the Breonna Taylor incident had 2 charges of sexual assault against him. He raped women, and he was still on the police department with those assault charges and, well, not charges, complaints. And he had brutality complaints against him. So that's life in one of the most segregated cities in the United States. The 9th Street divide. This is the city. The street, 9th Street, supposedly is a dividing line in Louisville. So on one side, the west side is the black side, the poor side. On the white side, on the east side is the more white side and the more prosperous side. On the east side, poverty is 10%. On the black side is 40%. And these are the things that feed into this abusive policing, and these are the things that are ignored. The liar in chief last night said that he hopes there's no racism in America.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Come on,
you were
man.
sitting in a building that when it was being built, it was protested by black Philadelphians because black companies were not involved in it and black workers were not on that site. No racism, Mr. President, and your black lackeys who come out and defend that stuff. Solomon?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm at the point now because he comes here and that's fine. I mean, come on, this part of America. You're the president of America right now. But we got some questions. And the thing is, he never answers them.
Oh, no, never answers.
He never, and if he does, he's lying. And it's demonstrably false, the stuff that he's saying. All you got to do is just put on the video. Yeah. Put on the tape. Like, here's the truth. Why are you lying? But this is, the scariest thing to me is not him. Oh. It's the people who are following him who don't care what he says, what he does. They know he's lying just like everybody else does, and they don't care.
And let's not forget that this is not some sort of gas that a Martian came down here and put in America that made these people this way. Remember the Tea Party a number of years ago? And they're out there running around saying, we hate Obamacare, but we love the Affordable Care Act. No socialized medicine. But what is Medicare? It's socialized medicine. And that's all right because it helps you, but you don't want anything that'll help somebody who doesn't look like you.
Yeah.
Last night the president talking about well, we got to give more respect for the police. But we tell our children that respect is earned, not given. So you have to earn it. So why do the cops not have to earn that kind of respect? The police department in Louisville has a history of violence. There was a crew there, their nickname was the Viper Unit. Now, it was called Violence Intervention, this and the other. But why would you have those name or words to make that kind of an acronym? Viper Squad. All right? So then when they started getting criticized, they changed the name to, what did they change the name to? Oh, the 9th Mobile Division. But it was still the same brutal police tactics. And again, nothing is done. The police chief that was just let go this year, he was in charge of a program, an Explorer program, where they tried to get young kids in and get them interested in the police department. Well, one of the cops who was involved in that was sexually abusing the kids. And he ended up getting convicted and sent to jail. But the police chief stayed in there on the basis of support from the mayor. It was almost like a Penn State situation. Jerry Sandusky is raping kids, and Joe Paterno and the other officials there were turning a blind eye to it. And this is the type of stuff that just goes on and on and on. And then when it comes up, it's like, oh, gosh, we didn't know that. Let us investigate it, and we'll get back to you. And by the time you have gray hair, then they come out and say, oh, well, there's no problem at all. So these are the dynamics in America, the dynamics that are denied for decades and centuries.
Wow. That is Lynn Washington. Lynn Washington, of course, is a professor of journalism at Temple University, co-founder of the award-winning Multimedia Urban Reporting Lab. In addition to his Temple degrees, Washington holds a law degree from Yale University. Lynn, thanks so much.
Hey, Talma, thanks. Appreciate it. You have a nice day, and same way with your listeners.
All right. You too. So we got a couple minutes, so I want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about on this morning's show. I'm so glad that we have Lynn to break these things down and to really give us some context, because this thing in Louisville does not happen in a vacuum. This is about the division of black and white, of rich and poor, of trying to have a land grab, gentrifying a neighborhood, by getting the black folks out like that. All of that, man, is part of what's happening with this Breonna Taylor case. This does not happen just by itself. It is part of a larger context. I want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. So we're talking about a number of things, including the Breonna Taylor case. Her family gets $12 million from the city of Louisville. Is that justice? Is that enough, given that the officers who killed her are still walking around? I want to know what you think. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Also talking about relationships this morning. Cardi B divorcing her husband Offset after 3 years of marriage over infidelity. I find it ironic because much of her material is about sex, but sex can't hold a relationship together, not by itself. And so I want to know, what are the things that hold a relationship, and especially a black relationship, together? I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about. Sarah from West Oak Lane is on line one. Go ahead, Sarah.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Voting, I will be going in person. I will be masked up, shielded up, gloved up, hazmat up. I've told several friends that I know that are elderly or a little older, I will take them to the polls. Not a problem. But he told my boss I will not be there that day or virtually working online. I'm out.
Okay.
There's something else. What was the other topic?
Relationships.
Well, I can't speak for me because I'm not in one. But my parents have been married for 64 years, still married, and I think it's a trust.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's it. But thank you and have a good day.
All right.
The other thing was, I want to know what Kuwaisa and all the New Jersey residents feel, how they feel that they don't get a chance to vote in person because their ballots, are being mailed. Everybody's has to vote by mail. So how do they feel? They don't even get a chance.
All right. I want to thank you for your call this morning on WRD. Well, Kuwaisa, how do you feel about it? I mean, is that even the case?
Yeah, and I have to do some more research. I know that for the primaries, they didn't even ask; they just sent it to us, and I think that we are on par to do that too. And so I'm actually doing some more research in regards to what we have to do because a lot of our polling places are just not going to be open. So we have to. We basically have to.
Right.
We were lucky because the last time we had a lot of different drop-off areas, so we didn't even have to just go to the Board of Elections. We were able to drop it off at like different boxes, but I don't know if those will be available. So these are all questions that I'm going to ask, but what I will say is that, several, not even just for the primaries, but, a couple of elections ago when we were voting for Andy Kim, and I was given a mail-in ballot, not by request, they sent it to me because of some other reasons. One of the things that happened was the fact that on the news, they made it seem like the Republican had won because they didn't count all of the mail-in ballots, right? And then what happened was, after they counted those mail-in ballots, Andy Kim had won. And so, I think that that's the part that makes me a little bit nervous because it's like if, is my vote going to really count? That's the part that makes me nervous. And so as long as they can guarantee that everyone's vote counts the way that it needs to be counted, then, I'm cool with it. But, it did take a little while for us to get those results because of the fact that they didn't do all the counting right away for those mail-in ballots. And so, we'll see. But it does make me a little bit nervous. But I'll keep doing some research and find out what's going to be happening for my lovely Garden State. Yeah.
All right. I want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Charles from the Northeast is online, too. Go ahead, Charles.
Yes, for the first question, I think it's love and caring.
Love and caring. Okay.
Yeah. Because sometimes things may happen.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just stop at that answer. Then let me go back to let me go forward to the next issues, which has to do with the beautiful black young African woman that was killed.
Yeah.
No money can pay for life.
That's right. That's right.
Never. Okay. So, are they saying that they were wrong for killing her, and therefore, are they repenting? Are they saying we are sorry? We can't pay for her life, so here, please forgive us?
The mayor said he's sorry. The mayor said that he was he's sorry for their loss, right? And that he can't imagine the feeling that the mother has. But that is not, we admit wrongdoing. A lot of times with a civil suit, it's this we're paying for your loss, but we're not admitting that what we did was wrong because what they did was criminal.
Yeah, that's where I get confused.
Yeah.
I get confused. You can say, I'm not wrong, I didn't do nothing wrong, but here, they didn't go.
Yep.
So I'm not going to hold you up. I listen to your program most of the time. And then the third issue is this reverend that people keep praising for the questions that he asked when Donald Trump was here in Philadelphia. I was listening to CNN last night with Don Lemon. This reverend, correct me, I don't think up to now he has even decided on how he's going to vote. that alone, I was wondering, but what is it that this one question that the Reverend asked that made it so important? If he has not decided to vote at this point, what else? And then there was another gentleman that Donald Trump had pointed out in 2016. He is my African friend. You know, they had it on. He hasn't decided how he's going to vote. He said he vote by his conscience. What is the conscience that he's talking about?
Yeah.
When this man had, degraded, African people, African American, or whatever, what else has to convince these people that this is not the right guy that we should even be considering voting for? The Reverend.
I hear you, man. I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WRD. We're going to talk about it on the other side of the break. The pastor he's talking about is Pastor Carl Day, who asked a question at that town hall. And so we're going to talk about it on the other side of the break. Play a little bit of sound from that town hall so you can judge for yourself. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Weather
and traffic to keep you informed for your drive home.
in the happy hour.
With Sincerely Sarita.
Monday through Thursday, 4 till 7 p.m.
Right here
on Word Radio, 96.1 FM.
and 900 AM WURD.
During these unprecedented times, we're creating a lot of extra trash, and that means delays across the city with curbside collection. That's why we have some simple tips that will help you to reduce curbside waste and collection delays. Reduce food waste by using garbage disposals or composting, and limit bulk waste to 2 items per household. Set out trash properly. That means using sturdy trash bags and covering containers with lids. Make sure your trash bags are not heavier than 40 pounds. Set out trash no earlier than 7 p.m. before your collection day and 7 a.m. the day of collection. And remember, you can drop off materials at sanitation convenience centers 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Last and most importantly, thank our sanitation workers for their hard work during these challenging times. We all have a role to play to curb our waste and help our city. Learn more at philadelphiastreets.com.
No fear,
Just facts.
this is WURD, independent black media.
What's up, everyone? I know you know the word, no, not the station, but this word, J-O-B, that is, and our friends at Amoroso's Baking Company are hiring right now. Amoroso's has been baking the delicious bread in our community for over 100 years, and they want you to join their team today. The old and the young love Amoroso's, and they are hiring right now. Check it out. They offer fair pay and provide health, dental, and prescription plans after 90 days employment. Call 856-754-0355 or visit amorososbaking.com for details.
As a business owner, hiring and developing people from the community that your company serves is one of the best ways to show commitment to that community. Let Word Radio help with Livelihood, our new initiative that connects Philadelphians with companies like yours. We'll feature your business, open employment opportunities, and resources to connect your company with talent and ensure that you reach your target demographic. To learn more about how Livelihood can help you build your team, visit wordworks.com. That's WURDworks.com. Livelihood is supported by the Nightland Fest's Local News Transformation Fund, Borealis Philanthropies Racial Equity and Journalism Fund, and the Solutions Journalism Network.
Now, a traffic update
on Word Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Staples Stores. Some delays continue on the Schuylkill Expressway this morning. Pretty heavy westbound side from University, I think from there through 30th Street. You're heavy there through the ongoing construction. Down to one lane, causing a big jam again this morning west of that city out to Belmont. That is busy eastbound. Delays around the curve to Gladwin again, Montgomery through 30th Street. Westbound Vine Expressway busy from 8th Street out through the Schuylkill Expressway. 95 southbound delay Cotman through Bridge through that work again. Betsy Ross through Girard. Further south, you're jammed up from Ridley Park down to the Commodore Barry Bridge. Police activity there on the highway southbound 95 causing that big delay. Northbound, no major issues there this morning. 55 northbound still jammed from Deptford into 42. School goes on. Staples has everything to start the year, and no matter where school happens, all at amazing prices. This week at Staples, Apple AirPods start at just $129. Offer ends $9.19 while supplies last. Limit 2. School on, save on at Staples. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. We talked about the president coming to Philadelphia yesterday for a town hall, and he did that at the National Constitution Center. There were people outside protesting, but I want to talk about some of what happened inside because he was questioned by a few people. And some people had some tough questions for him yesterday, which of course Donald Trump kind of evaded. But I want you to take a listen to some of what happened yesterday at that town hall and hear a little bit of what he had to say. And so we're going to play that in just a few minutes. But for now, we're going to take your calls at 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio and let us know where you are in these various things we're talking about on this morning show. If you saw that town hall, I'm interested in your takeaways from it. But again, we're going to play some of that sound in a few minutes. But for now, we're going to take your calls, talking about a number of things, including black relationships. Cardi B and her husband Offset are getting divorced, and they're getting divorced, it says, because of an infidelity, which I found ironic, given that so much of their material, their music, is based around sex. And it made me think, what is the thing that holds black relationships together? Give me a call. Let me know what you think. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in. Also, Breonna Taylor's family got a $12 million settlement from the city of Louisville. Is that justice? Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Going to go to the phone lines, talk to Joy from Philly on line 2. Go ahead, Joy.
Hey, Solomon. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good.
That's
Thank
good.
you. I wanted to comment on the last gentleman's, the last caller. I saw that interview with Don Lemon last night with the pastor from Pastor Day that was on the, here at the town hall last night with Donald Trump. And
yes.
I was kind of shocked, too, that he said that he wasn't sure who he was going to vote for. He did say clearly he wasn't voting for Trump. But I just think that we have to be very careful. And, of course, we're all entitled to our own opinion, and you have to be true to yourself, as they say. But we have to be very careful when we're in any position, whether it's, a pastor or talking to your friends or, you as a radio host, whoever. Our words have power.
Yes, they do.
And we can be very influential to those around us. And we have to stop thinking about what is the president going to do for me and think about what is my response going to do as a collective.
Very true.
It can't be, well, I'm going to vote for this person because they're going to do X, Y, Z. It's not that either candidate is that great, but we know that we got to get Trump out of there. And if a lot of people are going to be doing third-party voting, this is going to pull the vote away from the Democrat, and Trump is going to win. So it may not be, what are you going to do for me? But as a collective, I know the best thing for this election is to get Trump out. I may not like everything Biden's saying. I may not agree with the whole, but we got to do what we got to do. And make change on a local level. Stop looking at the president, whoever it's going to be our savior. It's not going to happen. We have to impact our local community.
I agree with everything you said, and I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. We do have the question that Pastor Day asked yesterday at that town hall. So let's take a listen.
You've coined the phrase, make America great again.
Right.
When has America been great for African Americans in the ghetto of America? Are you aware of how tone deaf that comes off to African American community?
Well, I can say this. We have tremendous African American support. You've probably seen it in the polls. We're doing extremely well with African American, Hispanic American at levels that you've rarely seen a Republican have. If you talk about make America great, if you look at just prior to, and I'm talking about for the black community, you look just prior to this horrible situation coming in from China when the virus came in, that was probably the highest point, home ownership for the black community. Home ownership, lower crime, the best jobs they've ever had, highest income.
Well, I mean, your statement is, though, make it great again. So historically, the African-American experience, especially in these ghettos that have been redlined, historically, these ghettos that have systemically been set up and treated the way that they have been, the conditions of the drugs, the guns, and everything else that actually created the symptoms for what we see, that you profess to be just the democratic cities in themselves. These things have historically been happening for African-Americans in these ghettos, and we have not been seeing a change. Quite frankly, under your administration, under the Obama's administration, under the Bush, under the Clinton, the very same things happen, and the very same systems and cycles continue to ensue. And we need to see, because you say again, we need to see when was that great, because that pushes us back to a time in which we cannot identify with such greatness. And I mean, you've said everything else about choking and everything else, but you have yet to address and acknowledge that there's been a race problem in America.
So if you go, well, I hope there's not a race problem. I can tell you there's none with me, because I have great respect for all races, for everybody. This country is great because of it.
So that's Donald Trump. That's Pastor Carl Day asking him that question. I want to know what you think about it. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. We have reached out to Pastor Day and hope he will give us a call and kind of explain his question and where he's at based on the answer that he's gotten. We do know that Pastor Day voted for Jill Stein in the last election. And it's my contention, and it's really based in fact, that when you vote for that third-party candidate, you're really helping Donald Trump to win, because that candidate has no chance to win. It takes a vote away from the candidate that does have a chance to win, and it really helps Donald Trump. I want to know what you think. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. I just have to be frank that for me, given what I understand about electoral politics, in an election like this, where you have a choice between somebody who is clearly a racist and somebody who spent 8 years as the vice president to the first black president, somebody who has a black woman as his running mate, somebody who has a black woman, Simone Sanders, as his senior advisor, who has Stacey Abrams, a black woman, as one of his surrogates on the campaign trail, who is connected to the black community in ways that many politicians aren't. This is not to say he's perfect, because he's not. But when you have a choice between him and a racist, as a black person, I'm trying to understand what it is that you're uncertain about. That's what I'm really trying to understand, that, because if Donald Trump gets another 4 years, then he gets to shape the Supreme Court for the foreseeable future. Ruth Bader Ginsburg is holding on, and God bless her. She's holding on because she knows she has to. Because if she doesn't, that gives Donald Trump another pick, and then they have an insurmountable majority on the court, and they can wipe out every advance that black people have made in this country from a legal perspective. They can do that. This is what we have to understand. And I said this last time, and I'm going to keep saying it until our people understand that the president can only stay 8 years, right? And we can weather 8 years in this country. We can do that. But when he nominates Supreme Court justices and the Senate confirms them, those Supreme Court justices stay for life. The Supreme Court is a president's legacy. That's his legacy. That's why when Obama was going to get another pick, Mitch McConnell would not even bring that pick to the floor. That's why the Senate matters. See, it's not just the president. And, you know, if I don't do anything else on these airways, man, I'm going to let y'all know what I've learned so that we can all be educated, right? Because education is not just for us. It's for all of the people around us so that we can make our community stronger and better. The Senate matters because they confirm Supreme Court justices. The president matters because he nominates Supreme Court justices. Those Supreme Court justices decide how the Constitution is lived out in this country. It's literally the difference between a Supreme Court decision like Dred Scott, which says the black man has no right that the white man is bound to respect, and a decision like Brown versus the Board of Education, which says that segregation is illegal in this country. It's literally the difference between those two things. The Supreme Court decides what the Constitution means in this country, not the president. I hate to be the one to break it to you, but all of this matters. And so when you decide you're going to vote for a third-party candidate that can't win, well, then you're helping Donald Trump. And you're helping him to cement a conservative majority on that court that will wipe out the advances that black people have made in this country. This is not just about today. This is about our children. This is about our grandchildren and what will happen to them in this country. It's that important. And not just because of Donald Trump, but because of the Supreme Court. Your Senate candidates are important because the Senate decides whether or not the person that the president nominates even gets a hearing. It's important, man. I want to hear from you. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That's the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. We got a full bank of calls. Going to go to Shirley from West Oak Lane on line 1. Go ahead, Shirley.
Solomon.
How you doing?
I'm doing okay. Just want to mention about Cardi B and her husband.
Uh-huh.
First of all, a marriage is based on God's word, the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a marriage is supposed to be honorable among both couples, the man and the wife.
Yes.
And I don't see where her and her husband have set a good example for anyone. Not for themselves, not for young people, and not for married people. So that's what you get. You know, they don't have no rules or regulations.
Well, they did at least. They did get married, and they stayed married for 3 years. Some marriages don't last that long.
You know, that's very true. But I tell you what, if you have God in your marriage, instead of being a two-fold and you have a threefold, it will last much longer. I'm telling you. Because a lot of people, marriages don't last because they have no clue what each person should be doing. They have no clue. They have no idea. I find that to be true among a lot of marriages. People don't get the right understanding. However, you have to have God in your marriage, and he will guide you through that marriage. It's all in the Bible.
All right. I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. Ryan from Philly is online, too. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, I just wanted to say a couple of things. And before I say what I want to say, I just want to say that I'm not trying to judge anybody because I believe everybody's situation is unique. But I just want to use my father as an example of something that's similar to what you guys are talking about. He grew up in North St. Louis, and anybody who knows anything about North St. Louis knows what kind of a neighborhood that is. It's a poor neighborhood, especially today, predominantly poor black neighborhood. All right? And he used to tell me stories all the time about how he grew up poor, and he, at some point in his life, had to make a decision whether or not he wanted to be poor or whether he wanted to be wealthy. So he started doing landscaping when he was a teenager, put himself through college, got out of that situation, and he's retired now. He was a successful man for 30 years. He's retired now, and he got himself out of that situation because he didn't want to be it anymore. Now, you know,
Ryan, you're going to have to get to the point, man.
Okay, my point is this.
Go ahead.
I hear a lot of people talking about what it's like to live in neighborhoods like that. My father was one of those very people. He worked his way out of it. He said he didn't want that for himself, so he worked his way out of it. And then
So your father started out as a landscaper. Did he eventually get his own landscaping business?
He started doing his own landscaping business to put himself through college and got out of that neighborhood on his own.
And what did, wait a minute, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions because we got other people holding. Matter of fact, I'm going to put you on hold because we're at 8:40.
Well,
we got to go to we got to go to break. So hold on. We got to go to break. On the other side, we'll continue our conversation. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Pico has many ways to help you lower your energy usage and save money at home. Here's one. If your heating and cooling system is more than 20 years old, it may be time for your contractor to replace it with a high-efficiency Energy Star certified model. You'll get a rebate from Pico and save on your monthly electric bill. You'll find a list of new heating and cooling system rebates at pico.com/rebates. Or you can call 1-888-5-PICO-SAVE for all the details. Plus, find instant discounts on smart thermostats and more at pico.com/marketplace. There's free shipping on orders over $49.
Need a new mattress? Stop by to see Julian, the mattress man, located at 7421 Stenton Avenue. You deal directly with the owner, Julian, to ensure the best prices on name brand mattresses like Sealy, Posturepedic. Call 215-424-5550. That's 215-424-5550.
Be heard. Be heard. Want another way to join the conversation?
Follow us on social media
using the hashtag onWURD.
Be heard.
Stay connected to Word Radio.
Independent Black Media.
Through farmlands, cities, trails, and beaches, the Delaware River watershed provides drinking water to more than 13 million people. Imagine where we would be if we didn't protect all of our waterways, the streams, the creeks, and the rivers that run through our region. We would be without abundant wildlife, without vital ecosystems, without nature to escape to learn from. Visit watershedalliance.org to learn about River Days and find yourself in nature.
Listen to Laborers Live.
We created the weekend. We created the 40-hour work week. We just want enough to feed our family, be able to send our children to college, and let our next generation do better than we did.
To people that might have forgot how important unionism is in a country like the United States. People now are infringing on our 8-hour work day, kind of work people more than 8 hours without overtime, kind of work people without benefits. In the long run, everybody's getting a fat paycheck except the worker. So this is really a wake-up call for America.
The struggle is continuous. Tune in to Laborers Live every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. Sponsored by LESIT, the Laborers Employers Cooperation Education Trust of the Laborers District Council of Philadelphia and vicinity.
Local 332, Sam Staten Jr. Business Manager. Local 57, Esteban Vera Business Manager. Local 135, Dan Woodall Jr. Business Manager. Local 413, James Harper Jr. Business Manager. The Laborers District Council, Ryan Boyer Business Manager, and Tony Staten, Executive Director of LESIT.
You're waking up
with Word.
Hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD. We're talking about a number of things this morning, including the town hall that the president held here yesterday in Philadelphia. Got a lot of tough questions from some folks around systemic racism and some other things. Also talking about relationships, and especially black relationships. What holds relationships together? And of course, we're talking about Breonna Taylor. She was killed by police in Louisville. The family got a $12 million settlement. Is that justice? But we had a guy call in, wanted to talk about something else, his dad and his business and what he did to get out of a tough neighborhood. So Ryan is on the line. We want you to go ahead and finish. So you said your dad became a landscaper. He was able to work his way through college being a landscaper. He got out of that neighborhood. And so I was really trying to get you to get to your point.
My point is a big question I hear a lot these days is, you know, like there was this one argument between Candace Owens and I think that guy's name.
Yeah, I want you to get to your point.
Was IT. I'm getting to my point. You didn't rush anybody else along.
No, I'm okay. Now look, I'm asking you all this stuff because you're trying to tell this long story, and I'm trying to understand because I got a lot of other people who are waiting. So you really do need to get to your point.
I'll get to my point. Everybody is asking, when was the greatest time in black history? Look around us. You got all kinds of black athletes, baseball players, basketball players, rap artists, hip-hop artists, all this different stuff, all millionaires. You could talk to a lot of those guys, and they'll say the same thing my father said. He started out in a rough neighborhood, and he got out of it. He had to make a decision. Ain't nobody holding you back but yourself.
Yeah, okay. Now let me ask you this, Ryan. Let me ask you this. Can I ask you a couple of questions?
What's that?
Is your father white?
It doesn't matter.
No, I'm asking you a question. I mean, it's just a real simple question. Is your father white?
That's a question.
Is your father white?
That is racist.
No, it's not. It's just asking you a question. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to tell you what. Bye. All right? Peace. All right? Listen. So black businesses, and the reason I asked you, did your father start your own business or whatever, you want to holler and scream about Candace Owens, so go down to Dollar and do that. They like that down there. I don't. So here's the thing, right? Black-owned firms twice as likely to be rejected for loans as white firms. So your father could go get a loan to handle his landscaping business. We can't, right? Black people get rejected for mortgages at a much higher rate than white people. So your white father could move out of that white community, that black community, into a white community, and the realtor would sell him the house. The lender would give him the loan. He could get whatever he wanted because he was white, right? And so we have some barriers that you don't. And you don't want to accept that, and that's cool. You go do whatever it is you got to do, right? But the reality is that racism is systemic in this country. And so white people can start businesses and get loans for those businesses. We can't. I'm going to tell you something very personal. I'm going to tell the audience something very personal, right? So I recently bought a house, an investment property. And I have several jobs. And so, I gave them all of my information. My credit was good. I had half the money for the house. I got rejected by 2 banks with good credit and half the money, right? They claim that, oh, you haven't been at your job long enough and all of this other nonsense, right? Good credit, half the money, got rejected by 2 major banks, one of which I had been doing business with for about 15 years, right? And so if that could happen to me with good credit and half the money, then what chance is a black person that might not have as good credit and might not have as much money down, what chance do they have? Now, I ended up getting it from a smaller lender, actually at a better rate that both of those bigger banks were offering, right? But that kind of stuff happens to black people all the time. All the time. And so we can't get ahead in the same way because there is systemic racism in banking. There is systemic racism in student loans. There is systemic racism in business loans. There is systemic racism in even getting into a union. We might have a trade and can't get into the union for that trade because of systemic racism. We get held off of jobs here in the city of Philadelphia funded by our tax dollars because of racism. So don't tell me ain't nobody holding me back but myself. That's a lie from the pit of hell. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, for real, like, what are you talking about? But this is what we're up against, and I'm glad Ryan called. I'm sorry he didn't want to answer the questions. You know what I mean? I'm sorry he didn't want to admit that his father is white. I'm sorry he didn't want to admit that there's systemic racism. I'm sorry he didn't want to admit that his father was able to get loans, able to get mortgages, able to get all of the things that we cannot get even when we follow all of the rules and are qualified for those things. I'm sorry he didn't want to answer all of that. You know what I mean? But the reality is we got receipts, bruh. You know, like, racism is real. It exists. And don't tell me your president is caping for Confederate statues and monuments. The Army's saying we willing to take the Confederate names off of the forts because they were rebels and traitors to this country, and your president wants to keep them there. He's telling us that they're good people on both sides when Heather Heyer got killed in that rally in Charlottesville. He's a racist. Your president's a racist, and y'all following him. And so don't tell me, man, that ain't nobody holding us back but ourselves. But this is what we're up against, and I'm glad to hear from you. I'm sorry you won't admit that you white. 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD. Anthony from Delaware is on line one. Go ahead, Anthony.
Solomon, this is what I'm talking about, man. I can't get enough of your knowledge, man. I can't get enough of you, man. I mean, you like all in my spirit. You know, I just burden myself a little bit, Solomon. Solomon, the way you do this show is impeccable.
Thank you,
brother.
brother.
I get so much from it. You know what I'm saying? I just live for this show in the morning. You know?
Thank you, man.
And I love this station, but it almost drops off a cliff after you. And the other hosts, they don't know the callers, the community make this station, not them. They don't. You can't go through a whole 3 hours and don't take no calls, or you have guests on for the whole 3 hours, or something like that. They got to understand that the callers make this radio station, not them.
Well, we love our coworkers and we love our other hosts, and we support them.
The callers make
we support
this
them.
station.
I hear you, Anthony. I hear you, but I support my colleagues, man. I support my colleagues. Bye. Yeah, I support them. All right. So thank you, man. I appreciate your call this morning on WURD. Let's go to Terrell from East Oak Lane on line 2. Go ahead, Terrell.
Good morning, Solomon. Good morning, Khaleesa. How you guys doing this morning?
Good. How are you?
Good. Just 2 points. First, what Ryan made up this point, about the fact that, athletes have made it, hip-hop artists have made it. But the point that, Ryan, I don't think you seem to understand is when they are off that main stage, when they are off the field, they are treated with the same type of disdain, and no one sees the fact that they are an artist or whatever the case is. And so to try to say that they've made it, they all will still admit the same fact, and that is when I get in the car and I see those police lights behind me, none of that stuff even matters.
That's right.
That's a part of the problem.
That's right.
Right? And so Ryan is a little bit very misguided in his fact that he doesn't seem to understand systemically how these things work, right? And his ignorance is not even allowing him to be open to the fact that we have not yet achieved, right? Regardless of money does not mean that you are accepted in society.
Mm-hmm.
When people still see the color of your skin and are judging the content of your character by that standard.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the part that Ryan does not seem to understand, but I think you handled it very well. I also wanted to talk about the marriage piece, and I think everything that everybody has said about marriage is absolutely right, except for you have to want to stay in the relationship.
Yeah.
None of that other stuff matters if you don't want to be in the marriage. And I see so many people, it's great if you can laugh together, it's great if you got the finances, all that other stuff is great. But I see so many marriages fail because one or both of the people don't really want to do it. And so none of that really matters if you are not committed to one another to want to make it work.
That's a good one. I want to thank you so much for that call this morning on WURD Radio. I'm going to go back to the phone lines. Hakeem from South Philly is on line 3. Go ahead, Hakeem.
Hey, Solomon. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, man, Solomon, I really believe that you should run for some type of city office here in Philadelphia, man. You have the plan. You have a plan, and the Black agenda, I put definitely, my trust in God first. Just you after that.
Oh, thank you, brother.
Because, yeah, man, like, straight up, bro, I love everything that you come with. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing but knowledge, man. I just, I don't call all the time, but I'm always listening.
Thank you, brother.
Listening, because sometimes, like how my dad told me, sometimes it's good to just listen to always have something to say. And I definitely appreciate you, brother. So
thank you,
keep going what you're doing. Yes, sir.
All right.
Have a nice day.
All right. I appreciate that, and thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. We're going to go to Abdul from West Philly is on line 4. Go ahead, Abdul.
Hey, what's going on, Sal?
Not much, man. How you doing?
I want to talk about the settlement real quick with Brianna, and then about marriage. The settlement, I think Trump done a good job of negotiating, because just like you said earlier, usually the mayor come out and they take no responsibility for, what happened, but they give off the payoff. The second thing is usually they don't tell you how much was paid out, like how they done Kaepernick. They put the gag order. You can't say how much we gave you. And then usually a lot of times they put the other gag order on you where you can't talk about the case. And seemingly I've seen them be interviewed afterwards in which they were still talking about the case. So obviously they didn't get the gag order on not being able to still display their displeasure about it. So that's good. And they also got 3 laws passed out of it. As far as the cops can't do that same routine of busting in again, they got a community organization thing to do oversight on the police to work with them, and something else that I forgot. So I believe that's all good. So Benjamin done a good job on that. Now, as far as with the relationship thing, it got to start off first with compatibility. I don't care how fine the girl or guy look, if you gonna have compatibility issues, you can't worry about the sex and all that stuff, how much money, what kind of car they got. You're gonna have trouble if y'all not involved in the same things, or at least the majority of the same things. Then next is trust, compromise, tolerance, and patience, and the first and almost thing to keep all together is love. Yeah, but the one thing we got with that nut guy Ryan calling is we got trouble like that with guys like that being the gatekeepers, guys like that being the manager or somewhere where you try and get a job, guys like that being the guy you need to get the bank loan to, who you cannot get through, because that's the trouble a lot of times with white people. Now, if a black person grow up without a mother or father, they say that's what they were supposed to be when they end up in jail. But if a white person go through the same thing, they make all kind of excuses up for them, like the boy who had influenza.
Affluenza. I hear you. We got to go because we got to go to break. We're a little bit over, but I want to thank you for your call. I'm Solomon Jones. Next up, it's your favorite cousin of mine, Dear Melanie. I'm Solomon Jones. We'll be right back.
Get your money straight.
Get my money right.
It's Solomon Jones and Akbar Hassan.
Fridays on Wake Up with Word.
7 a.m. till 10 a.m. Hosted by Solomon Jones. Exclusively on Word Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD.
Streaming live on WordRadio.com and on the Word Radio app.
I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
But they've got the experience.
I'm still in shock 3 or 4 years later that we're in this position now. Our democracy is at a pivotal point.
From the top, we don't trust our government. We see the trouble we're in economically. We've got 170,000 Americans dead, and yet this president will do anything he can to make it seem like things are better than they are.
I did more for the black community than anybody with the possible exception of Abraham Lincoln.
It's our responsibility. If we don't lead that effort to make things better, we can't ask other people to do it. There is no good reason not to vote.
Right, we need to have individuals that are in office like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
They are our best shot to take us forward.
And that's what makes me incredibly hopeful, but we really do have to work for this thing.
To the thousands who did not vote, we need you to show up for our future and for our country.
You cannot sit on the sidelines. You got to get in the game.
Paid for by Biden for president.
Want the latest in word swag?
Check out the shop tab on WordRadio.com. Hoodies, tees, and more in a variety of colors. The shop tab on WordRadio.com. Show the world that you're all about black.
Talk Media.
Keystone First VIP Choice HMO SNP Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan has a 4 out of 5 star rating and is one of the highest rated Medicare plans in the region. Keystone First VIP Choice and you are better together. If you live in Philadelphia, Bucks, Chester, Montgomery, or Delaware County, and you have both Medicare and Medicaid, choose the Medicare plan that is working to help you get better care. Enjoy extra benefits at no cost to you with Keystone First VIP Choice. You get benefits like dental, vision, and transportation to and from your medical appointments. They also cover a fitness membership to a gym of your choice. $150 toward over-the-counter pharmacy items. There's no copay for doctor's visits. They offer a large provider network, a great prescription plan, dental coverage, and even eyeglasses. Plus, you don't have to wait for open enrollment. You can change your coverage every quarter. Keystone First VIP Choice. The name you trust, the service you deserve. Call Keystone First VIP Choice today at 1-877-686-1760 or visit KeystoneFirstVIPChoice.com. This is Word Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
Independent black media.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio,
96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD. Exclusively on WordRadio.com.
We got some advice for you today, just like we do on every Wednesday, because there's some questions so big you can't handle them by yourself. Joining us to answer life's biggest question is dear Melanie, otherwise known as Melanie Bryant Hirsch. She is a doctoral candidate at Widener University in social work, plus she my cousin. She's the First Lady of Mount Pisgah AME in Jersey City, New Jersey, where the Reverend Dr. Stanley Hurst II is the pastor. Melanie, good morning.
Hey, Solomon, how are you?
I am doing well. I'm doing well. It's good to talk to you.
You too.
So I got one of those questions for you, Melanie, from one of our listeners.
All right.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, here it is. My son graduated from college and told me he wanted to move back home. I couldn't say no because he's a good kid. He pays rent, he helps out around the house, he does chores. But my boyfriend and I are starting to get closer. I think he may even pop the question. But something tells me he's waiting to see if my adult son is planning to stay before he makes his move. I'm starting to feel like my son's getting in the way. What should I do? Sign wannabe wife in West Philly.
Ooh, goodness. Wait, how much time do I have? Because we need to unpack some things. I mean, I really don't even know where to start. It's certainly a lot of things that we need to address. But listen, first, let me give a major shout-out to all those parents who allow their adult children to come back home to get on their feet, including my mama.
Mine, too.
It was, it's hard out here in these streets. So after
that's
college,
right.
I moved into my own apartment, and I lived there on my own for about 5 years, right outside of Philly. And then I had to get a job that would allow me to complete my field practice for my graduate program, and the job was in Philly. So my mom, hey, Mom, she allowed me to come back home so I could finish school. And then I started my doctoral program. I moved out again and moved back when I lost my job. So I am so grateful for having her support during that time of life, because I certainly wouldn't have made it. But I also know that my mom was really happy when I got married, because I think she would have hit her snapping point, Solomon, if she had to tell me one more time about using so many sheets of paper towels to dry my hands. Listen, it got real in there.
I know that's right.
But listen, I know that our community is split sometimes on whether to let an adult child return home. But in this case, it sounds like he's doing what he needs to do and just needs some time to get a few things together. But my main concern is this boyfriend. And ladies, I just got to keep it real with y'all. First, I think that sometimes we get so caught up in possibly becoming a missus that we'll sacrifice anything just to get a ring. We'll settle for a partner who's emotionally aloof, one who's unfaithful, one who hits none of our expectations, and they might only have one tooth in their mouth. But listen, we'll hold on. We will hold on for dear life, because we really have this misperception that it's better than being alone. And in this case, he's got you second-guessing your own child? Nah, sis, it's a red flag. I mean, a potential spouse should never manipulate, because that's kind of what it is. Manipulate you to believe that you have to choose anybody over them, like especially your own child. And if this man has an issue because your son is living in the house, it's probably some type of fear or some type of insecurity about either the potential power dynamic between him and the son, or he might be concerned that there might be a competition for some type of affection or something like that. But hear me, wannabe wife, wherever you are right now, that's your boyfriend's insecurity speaking. And listen, now this is the real talk. Love does not come with conditions. If he loves you and wants to be with you, he will be like Nike and just do it. Because a man who desires a wife will not want to have you unattached out here in these streets. Why? Because then he risks losing you to someone else. So I don't believe that a man is going to allow a woman he loves to be all single and for years and years and years. If he continues to string you along and gives you hints that him marrying you hinges on something you do or don't do, I'm sorry, sis. He's just not that into you. So listen, Solomon, I remember a friend of mine, she told me one time that her boyfriend said, I'm not going to marry you until you get a driver's license. I was like, what? What? It's like a driver's license. And then, listen, she got the license, and of course he came up with another thing. He said, now you're going to learn, you need to learn how to clean.
Yeah.
I'm like, good night, sir.
That's
He's
right.
just not that into you. The
See
point
ya.
is, if a person loves you and wants to spend a lifetime with you, now they might need to see things like consistency or your ability to provide as a spouse. But, like, kick your kid out the house and I'll marry you, it's a no for me. So, wannabe wife, listen, in West Philly, I don't know. You have some serious things to think about. And while you're thinking about it, you really have to remember who you are. You're the treasure. And so you don't have to, you know, have conditions put on you and have to think that you're going to choose between a man and your son to be happy. You really have some thinking to do. So we'll be praying for you.
Yeah, we're going to be praying.
Think about some stuff. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because, you know, I heard that a man who finds a wife finds a good thing, not the other way around. That's what I heard.
Go.
That's what I heard.
Boom. You're dropping knowledge. That's right.
Man, oh, man, oh, man. Melanie, I want to thank you so much. We appreciate you, and we will talk to you next week.
All right. Take care.
All right. That is Melanie Bryant Hirsch. She is a doctoral candidate in social work at Widener University. Plus, she my cousin. If you've got questions for Dear Melanie, you can now go to our website, wordradio.com, click on the banner, and submit your question to be answered on our Dear Melanie segment next week. So we'll be looking for your questions. Go to WURDradio.com and click on the banner at the top of the page for Dear Melanie. We want your questions because there's some questions that you just need somebody else to answer. All right, so that is Dear Melanie. Of course, my cousin Melanie just had a baby, and the baby is adorable. And so we will be running back some of Dear Melanie segments. They are timeless. We want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number that you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about on this morning show. What holds a black relationship together? That's one of the things we're asking about. Also, did you see Donald Trump's town hall here in the city of Philadelphia? Some of the questions he was asked, especially by black folks, kind of tough. And he evaded some of those answers. But I want to know what you think about that as well. And, of course, Breonna Taylor's family got $12 million. Does that buy justice? I want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. Let's go to B. Black from West Philly on line 1. Go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Solomon.
Good morning.
Queen Kawesa. You've got a very good show going on this morning.
Thank you.
As far as Donald Trump is concerned, I think that he keeps up with the rhetoric of America, just like the caller called in. He takes a blind eye to the black causes in America and in history. You know, like he's the best thing since apple pie for America. No, it's not like that. And he has to study more history. He has to learn his history. I think that the Reverend, when he was talking to him, he was talking about nowadays history, the plight that we face now. I had attracted to come home in Philadelphia, and I got to squeeze the wheel all the way through North Philly to West Philly, you know, just not to get stopped after 10 o'clock on our own hood. As far as the relationship between marriage is built on several different things, not just sex and infidelity, you know, money matters and things like that. If you're going to put the family together, if you're going to hold the marriage together, you have to deal with these things. And a lot of infidelity happens out there. But that is the family from growing. You know, I'm just saying, you know, again, we look at the injustice for the woman losing her life to police brutality or killing, right? Nothing can repay that. That's been plaguing us in history. We came over on those ships, thousands of lives were lost. You know, we're on a big ship called America, and we're still losing lives. That's my.
All right, I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio, and I want to hear from you. So give us a call, 215-634-8065. A from Philly is online, too. Go ahead.
Solomon Jones, definitely a great show.
Thank you, brother.
One thing I want to say right now is that you don't want to compare Thanos to anybody else. And I say down with Thanos. We already have a representation of what's going on. This is the end game. It's the bottom line. And the one thing that we need to do is we all need to come together and we all need to register. You think it's treated unfair now when the rules are supposed to be on our side. If they change the rules, there is no justice. That's the bottom line. Because the rules are set, the Supreme Court and all these things are supposed to protect us. They changed the rules about you have a black-owned radio.
I'm sorry, you're breaking up a lot. We're going to have to let you go. Maybe you can give us a call back, but we couldn't understand you toward the end. But I want to thank you for your call. Let's go to Zaire from West Oak Lane on line 3. Go ahead, Zaire.
Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning.
And Kawesa. The only thing about that with Ryan, that caller,
yeah,
is that it's beyond his opinion because Ryan and people like Ryan be the head, the DA, they be the nurse, the doctor.
Yeah.
They be in positions of influence. And so they take the same negative attitude, that small-mindedness, and they apply it on us. Now, one thing we need to do is, like I said before, them 7 principles of Kwanzaa, if we did that, we'll be all right. That would be a good start. But like so far, the loan, you say they try to give you a loan. Until we start supporting our own, certain people are going to always be the same. So we gotta, connect with each other, like the Asians do, like the Hispanics do, like everybody else do. So when we do that, we ain't got to worry about what they do. But that's it, Solomon. Have a good day.
All right, thank you for your call this morning on WURD Radio. We're gonna go back to the phone lines. 215-634-8065. Renee from West Oak Lane is on line 4. Go ahead, Renee.
Yeah, good morning, Solomon and Croatia. I just want to speak about the caller said that she is asking a racist question. Most job applications do ask you for your race
I know.
and census and stuff like that. So, just right on by that. But I want to talk about qualified immunity, which was a law that was invented in 1967 to protect law enforcement against their acts. This law undermines the safety and justice of everyone, particularly for people of color or vulnerable people who commit crimes or targeted by police misconduct. Now, qualified immunity doesn't just reduce a person's chance for victory in a civil rights lawsuit. It means that many claims will never be brought to court. And I'm saying that in reference to Breonna Taylor and a lot of other cases that black people are experiencing. Now, in 1958, I'm not sure whether you heard of Monroe versus Cap. That it was a case that happened where 13 Chicago police officers broke into a guy by the name of James Monroe, and they busted in there without a warrant. We had him and his wife standing in the nude in the living room. And that case was thrown out due to qualified immunity, which is a law. Also, I wanted to get into stand your ground law and stop and frisk law. Those laws need to be taken out completely because they target and profile black people. And also, before I leave, I want people just to ask themselves, would you rather have a president that takes a deadly disease, downplay it because he says that he didn't want people to panic where people would find out anyway. So when you go to the polls, just think about that. Somebody, a president that's downplaying a deadly virus that killed hundreds of thousands of people, and hundreds of thousands of people are sick. So that's what I just.
All right, I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. Let's go to Mike from North Philly on line 1. Go ahead, Mike.
Good morning, Solomon. How you doing, Victor?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. The relationships, you got to have trust, love, compatibility, and you got to respect each other.
Yep.
A lot of times people don't have that. They all this superficial stuff. And Solomon, I'm on night shift this week.
Okay.
I swear, I turn the radio on. I can listen to you while I'm asleep. I do. And I was listening, right? I just opened my eyes. I was listening, and I heard that guy Ryan.
Yeah.
I got to call it. First of all, Trump is a lying. The people follow him are fools. They're going to wind up in body bags. They keep following him. And that guy Ryan talks about, rich athletes and entertainers. We ascend to those levels because we are superior in those areas. You know what I'm saying? You never talk about doctors, lawyers, and teachers. They always throwing athletes at us all the time. We're more than just athletes and here to entertain.
That's right.
That's right. They always come with this narrative, like they try to say Eminem is the greatest rapper ever.
Yeah.
Eminem is a good battle rapper, but he don't hold nothing to Big Daddy Kane, Rakim, LL Cool J, Tupac, and Biggie. He's not better than them. You know what I'm saying? And I say to that guy Ryan, you, sir, should go and be with the 3 Billy Goat Gruff because you are a troll. Thanks for taking my call.
I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. Let's go back to the phone lines and talk to Philip from West Philly on line 2. Go ahead, Philip.
Good morning, Solomon. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a few things. In reference to the Breonna Taylor case, so even though they're awarding the family $12 million,
yeah, but
I'm sorry, money is not enough. Them officers need to be charged and be served. And justice needs to be served. Yes, I did watch the Donald Trump 2020 thing, that presidential conversation last night.
Okay.
And I'm just looking at him, shaking my head and just laughing when he says that he's done more than any president in the history of this country except for Abraham Lincoln.
Done more for black people. You left that part out. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And but then I know the one black guy that was from North Philly that asked the question about racism.
Yes.
So the news interviewed him and asked him, so what is his position going to be as far as voting?
Mm-hmm.
So he's still shaking his arm saying, but he said, well, I'm not voting for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I'm looking like, well, wait, what is there to decide? It is clear.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now, look, if you want to see things get better, it's best that you vote for Biden, because you're not going to get it under this current regime.
I want to thank you, Philip, for your call this morning on WURD Radio. We're going to go to break. On the other side, we are going to continue to take your calls right here on WURD. We do have a guest coming up, so we're looking forward to that as well. I'm Solomon Jones. This is WURD. We'll be right back.
Recovery starts with a call. Pennsylvania's Substance Use Disorder Hotline is staffed by real people who are trained to help. They're here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They'll get you or your loved one into treatment regardless of your access to insurance. If you or someone you know is suffering from addiction, call 1-800-662-HELP. Recovery starts with a call.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Listen live at WordRadio.com.
During these unprecedented times, we're creating a lot of extra trash, and that means delays across the city with curbside collection. That's why we have some simple tips that will help you to reduce curbside waste and collection delays. Reduce food waste by using garbage disposals or composting, and limit bulk waste to 2 items per household. Set out trash properly. That means using sturdy trash bags and covering containers with lids. Make sure your trash bags are not heavier than 40 pounds. Set out trash no earlier than 7 p.m. before your collection day and 7 a.m. the day of collection. And remember, you can drop off materials at sanitation convenience centers 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Last and most importantly, thank our sanitation workers for their hard work during these challenging times. We all have a role to play to curb our waste and help our city. Learn more at philadelphiastreets.com.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones. Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. Joining us now is Michaela Winberg. She's a general assignment reporter at Billy Penn. She joins us to talk about her recent article focusing on virtual trauma support for Philly schools. Michaela, good morning.
Good morning, Solomon.
How are you?
I'm good. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. So, the kids are dealing with some stuff that I know I never had to deal with, and I don't think any previous generation has had to deal with. We're going through a gun violence epidemic. We are, of course, going through coronavirus, where people have been locked down. We're dealing with lack of resources in our schools. So, when you looked at some of the things that are being done to deal with that, what did you find in your reporting?
Sure, yeah, I think you're right. It's a tough time to grow up, especially in Philadelphia right now. So in our reporting, I focused on this neighborhood, Poplar, sort of in North Philadelphia between Spring Garden and Girard around the 11th Street corridor, because that neighborhood specifically since January has seen an insane increase in gun violence. It's been 400% up from the usual average number of annual victims since 2015. 35 people have been shot since January, just in this small, area of the city around the Richard Allen homes. So we focused on the school district and also a private school in the area called St. Malachy School. And they actually had a really robust emotional support program before the coronavirus in person. It's sort of centered on this physical space in the school called the Peace Room, where students could go to relax a little bit, talk to a counselor. There are 2 counselors staffed in the room at all times. There's an elliptical, snacks, books, music, all kinds of stuff like that.
Okay.
So obviously it's a challenge when you can't go to the peace room in person anymore like you used to be able to. So these kids lost access to the usual emotional support that they get in this neighborhood where shootings went up in the same time frame. So they pivoted to virtual in what seems like a pretty effective way. They have their counselors dropping in on classes every single day, watching the behavior of students for any sort of red flags or triggers or anything like that. They have open office hours when kids can drop into a Zoom call and talk about their feelings. One of the counselors, Kevin Hartley, he sends out emotional support exercises every morning over Google Classroom. The students can fill out things like how to draw your feelings or like books that they can read aloud, things like that. So, everyone's trying to make this work online right now.
So have they been able to quantify, and I know it's a short sample, but have they been able to quantify how many times they've had the opportunity to counsel the kids and the effectiveness of this virtual counseling that they're doing?
Sure. Yeah, it's like you said, it's tough to quantify because it's been so short that things have been virtual. Before the pandemic, they would give out surveys to students to see how supported they felt at school, and it was around 80% said that they felt like when they were going through something, someone would reach out to them. They felt supported at school. And they said roughly 20 kids were coming into the peace room physically every single day, which is quite a few. There are 275 total students at the school, so 20 students coming in every day is a decent rate. Since the pandemic, they say it's a little less than that, but not much less. Like a few less students will come in, less than that 20 number, but it's still in that same ballpark of kids seeking help every day.
Now, when they looked at it last year, I know they felt like there was some impact. What did they say about how this thing worked last year?
Yeah, I think that they thought it was pretty effective last year. Like I said, there were those surveys, and 80% of students either agreed or strongly agreed with the statement, I like the way that staff treats me when I need help. So students were receiving help and were documenting that they were receiving help that felt helpful to them. I spoke to some parents, too. There was Kiara James, who lives just a couple blocks from the school, and her daughter transferred to that private school after being bullied in public schools. And so she has some problems with anxiety, and she said that her daughter felt really supported by the staff, and she had met with them a few times. So I think it was a program that was pretty effective.
In terms of the ability to take this and use it on a larger scale, perhaps in public schools or anything like that, is that something that's being talked about, this virtual counseling that's working well in St. Malachy's?
Yeah, interestingly, the school district right now is sort of piloting a program that's kind of similar. It's on a different scale, of course, because the public school district doesn't have the same resources as a private school does, naturally. But this year, they've started a program where they use Medicaid funds called Healing Together, where they use Medicaid funds to sort of contract out emotional support staff from treatment centers in the areas of schools. So at the Spring Garden School, which is closest to St. Malachy, they use the Northeast treatment centers, and basically they have this program with these people where they can bring in counselors to talk to students when something goes wrong, when something is traumatic for them. So they can have these emotional support staff come in without necessarily dedicating the full resources to, they get help from Medicaid. So that's helpful for them.
So funding for this kind of thing, you mentioned Medicaid. Is that an option for funding this kind of counseling?
Yeah, I think so. Schools still do have counselors, and those counselors will drop into Zoom calls in the same way that they do at Malachy. They'll drop into class Zoom calls. They'll have open office hours. And then this separate program that the school district has started uses Medicaid funding to get additional counselors from places like I said, the Northeast treatment centers. So it's helpful when there are traumatic events like shootings or fires or anything like that at a school that affect students on a large scale. They can bring in extra emotional support to help. The downside, of course, because there often is one, the downside is that when you're bringing in outside counselors from outside treatment facilities, they don't have the same connection with students that these two full-time staffers at this private school have, because they see them every day and they know who they are. So, it's not perfect, it's certainly not a bad thing to have extra emotional support around. So.
Yeah, it's a start. It's a start.
Sure.
That's Michaela Winberg. She's a general assignment reporter at Billy Penn. She joins us to talk about her recent article focusing on virtual trauma support for Philly schools. Michaela, where can we find your work?
You can go to billypenn.com, BILLYPENN.com, and you'll see everything there.
All right. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning on WURD.
Yeah, thank you, Solomon.
Oh, you're welcome. So I want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. That is the number you can call to get in on the conversation right here at WURD Radio. Let us know where you are on these various things we're talking about on this morning's show. 215-634-8065. Of course, talking about a number of things, including our top 3 stories, which are story number 1, hundreds of protesters exchanged chants and barbs with the far outnumbered supporters of President Donald Trump from late afternoon into the night yesterday outside the National Constitution Center, where Trump participated in a town hall meeting. He faced some tough questions there. We played one of them a little bit earlier, and I think we're going to play a little bit more sound from that town hall as we move forward in the show, because I do want to know what you guys think about that. Story number 2, with concerns rising in Pennsylvania that tens of thousands of mail-in ballots might be discarded in the presidential election over technicalities, officials in the state told counties that they cannot reject a ballot solely because an election official believes a signature doesn't match the signature in the voter's file. In other words, that is a win. They can't just discard your ballot because somebody said, oh, I don't think the signatures match. No, there has to be more reasons than that. So that is a win for the voters of Pennsylvania. And, of course, story number 3, my commentary for the day. I'm glad the city of Louisville agreed to pay Breonna Taylor's family $12 million months after Taylor was killed by police in her own home. It's the largest settlement ever paid in the killing of a black woman by police. And as Louisville Mayor Greg Fisher said of Taylor's mother, Tamika Palmer, I cannot begin to imagine Miss Palmer's pain, and I'm deeply, deeply sorry for Breonna's death. And you know what? He should be. Plainclothes Louisville police burst into her apartment. She was doing nothing wrong. She was not a criminal. She was asleep in her bed, and they killed her in her own home. So, yes, the mayor of Louisville should be sorry, and the cops who killed her should be in jail. And I just want to know, is $12 million justice? Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. We're also talking about relationships this morning. Cardi B, the very influential rapper, and her rapper husband, Offset, getting divorced after 3 years of marriage, of course, a child as well. And it's interesting because a lot of her work, a lot of their work really based around sex. And my question is this: what is the thing that holds relationships together? Because clearly it's not just sex. I want to know what you think. Give me a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Going to go back to the phone lines, talk to William from Willingboro on line 1. Go ahead, William.
Good morning, Pastor. How are you?
I'm good, brother. You can just call me Solomon.
Okay, Mr. Jones. I'll call you Solomon.
All right.
Hey, listen, I saw you on Channel 600. You look good. You did really good on that, man.
Thank you, man.
I want to put my 2 cents in about this Ryan boy that called in to put him on blast.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that was really uncalled for him to even go there.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you something, man. You know, he categorizes. He's one of those people, and people like him who categorize people like us all the time. My grandfather also came from the slums, came from Brooklyn, New York, came from Marsh Project, didn't want to live there.
Mm-hmm.
Pulled himself up from his bootstraps.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Got 2 businesses, you know, a cleaners and a fish market.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, for him to call up, the audacity for him to call up there and act like, you know, we all just, you know, we sitting around moaning and groaning and complaining and crying about the way things is, that's uncalled for. That's not even the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I know that people like him are listening, and I know that you deal with them, and you have to deal with them, and that's, I mean, you're awesome at that.
Thank you.
But you know, just for the record, you know, they need to get their mind. That's the mentality of them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the mentality. That's what we're fighting for.
Yep.
And it just irks me, man. And I did watch the thing with Trump last night, and I turned it off. You know what I mean? Because this guy can't answer no questions. Because this guy can't come up with the truth and explain himself and be for real with black people in a situation with us. It's a travesty the way it is, Mr. Solomon. I just want to thank you for what you do.
Thank you, brother.
Have a good day, man.
You too, man, and thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. Let's go to Don from West Philly on line 2. Go ahead, Don.
Yeah, good morning.
What's up, Don?
I didn't hear all the comments from this guy named Brian, but you ain't going to never reach him, man, because they don't listen to the same media that you listen to.
Very true.
They have a whole different look at reality, man. You know, from day one, they go in church, and all they see is all these white faces that God has created in their image. The white Mary, the white Jesus, the white disciples. You know, then they got all their media. Right now, half the things that Trump is doing, they don't even hear about. So I've worked in the engineering field. I've been around conservatives, man, for 50 years. They have no clue of what's going on in the black community. They have no clue what Trump is doing. So that's why you hear that comment. Now, as far as this new program they're talking about for the schools and helping, they know how to solve the problem in the gang community. The same way they solved it in their community in the 50s. And then if you look at you got to watch, when we get through all this, we got to watch the Democrats too. If you probably look at that budget, 3/4 of that budget going to that program probably going to salary. A quarter is going to help the black children. They know how to solve the problem. They're not going to do it because one thing you got to understand about America is it's not only racism, but it's ethnic pride. It's ethnic competition. If they ever was to really solve the gang problems in Philadelphia, we'd be able to compete with the Irish and the Italians here. So you got to understand, the Irish and Italians, some of them, they feel empathy and sympathy for us, but damn, they ain't going to help us but so much because you're going to be competing with them, with their children, with their mothers, with their daughters. And the whole thing is saving us right now is this station. If the white media was to move on this station, we would not have no clue what the hell's going on right here in this damn city. So that's very important that we have to support this station. Once again, we got to get our own newspapers. We got to get our own radio stations because if they shut you guys down, we don't know what the hell's going on. Thank you.
Don, I want to thank you for your call this morning on WURD. Of course, we do have our own black newspaper, the Philadelphia Tribune. Support it. I want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. Sister Murray from University City is on line 3. Go ahead, Sister Murray.
Good morning, Solomon.
Good morning. Good, and you?
You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you.
Thanks for asking.
Good.
I have a couple comments.
Okay.
With Trump, I listened to you play that little part that you played, and you know he still refuses. He say he won't just go right to what he's asking him. He's saying it's great, but you got people still living out in the street. You have people dying by the thousands. You have children have lost schools. You have children in unclean schools. You have family members that have been separated. You have children living in cages. Now tell me what is so great, and he still refused to say the word black. He just still refused to say it. He says to all people, okay? This is crazy. And you can't bring a life back. No matter how much money they gave her, they can't, the amount of pain that her family will go through and the mentalness and have to see psychiatrists, no money. There's not enough money. And also, families, in order to stay together, you have to pray together. You have to put God at the top. He is the number one. We cannot do this. We're flesh and we're weak. If we put him first, he will always bring us right back around and center us to be able to calm down, to be able to stay focused, to be able to accomplish that new job or that career that you want. You know, this is a pandemic, but this is the best time to start your new business, the best time to get your kids reading, the best time to have family time. And those who are out here cutting up and separating themselves from their family, you're just destroying your family. These kids are watching this stuff, and you're teaching them how to behave the same way that you're behaving, which the cycle will continue. And they need to put prayer back into the schools. Put them back into the schools. And I have one question for you. You can answer this when I hang up, Solomon. Tell me, if you can, what is the percentage of black male principals in the schools today and black male teachers?
I know we need more, and I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD. The one thing I would say is this, because people keep saying we need to put prayer back in school. Ain't nobody stopping your kids from praying. You know what I mean? Now, the teacher not, guiding that, but I truly believe that we have to teach our kids to pray at home. And then when they get in school, they can pray if they want to with their friends. There are some things that we can do for ourselves. And so, we can't depend on the government to be, telling us when to pray and all of that. No, Bible tell me pray without ceasing. So you can pray yourself. The teacher ain't got to tell you to do that. You know what I mean? I hear that as a common refrain, and sometimes we got to step back and kind of take responsibility for our own spirituality. Ain't nobody stopping your kids from praying. They can pray themselves. You know what I mean? The teacher ain't got to tell them to do it. And some of these teachers, I don't want them telling my kid, praying with my kids anyway, because, you know what I mean? So we're going to go to break. On the other side, we're going to continue the conversation right here on WURD.
How do we make sense of our nation's history with race, privilege, and inequality? On Thursday, September 24th at 6 p.m., join Pulitzer Prize-winning author and Harvard University historian Annette Gordon-Reed as she discusses the challenges of wrestling with America's complicated past. This free virtual event is part of the Museum of the American Revolution's Carl M. Buchholz lecture series. Tickets are free, but registration is required at amrevmuseum.org or by calling 215-253-6731.
Dietz & Watson has been making premium meats and artisan cheeses for over 80 years. And when it comes to stacking sandwiches and party platters, they've got something for everyone in the family, like maple honey turkey breast, American cheese, buffalo chicken, and more. So get to your local deli and taste 4 generations of family recipes. With Dietz & Watson on the table, you'll have everyone coming back for seconds and thirds. Dietz & Watson, it's a family thing since 1939.
Did you get an eviction notice before the shutdown? Are you looking for a lawyer once the moratorium ends? There's so many questions with so little time. Let Equally Informed Philly find the answers for you. Just text the phrase Equal Info to the number 73224. Again, that's Equal Info, one word, to 73224. Their community information line will get the answers you need to survive in the time of COVID-19. Equally Informed Philly for all Philadelphians.
It's Wake Up with Word, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on Word Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD.
Good morning. This is Solomon Jones on 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURD, and I want to welcome you back to Wake Up with Word. We are, of course, talking about a number of things this morning, including the, I don't know what you want to call it. I guess you call it a town hall. That's what they called it. I don't know if that's really what it was, but they had a town hall yesterday in Philadelphia with Donald Trump. And he faced a couple of tough questions, especially from some black folks in the audience at the Constitution Center. And so we want to talk about that. Also talking about relationships. What holds relationships together? Cardi B and her husband divorcing, the two of them combined worth almost $50 million. And, you know, a lot of Cardi B's material has a lot to do with sex. And so, you know, sex and money can't hold relationships together. I want to know what holds relationships together, especially black relationships. What's the thing? What's the glue that holds relationships together? I want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. Also, the family of Breonna Taylor got a $12 million settlement from the city of Louisville after plainclothes Louisville police officers burst into her home and killed her. So she gets $12 million. The family rather gets $12 million. Is that justice? I want to hear from you about that as well. So give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. Of course, you can also weigh in on Facebook at ForWord at FORWURD. That's FORWURD. You can watch us there. You can weigh in there. And so we want to hear from you there as well. So we're going to go to the phone lines. 215-634-8065 is the number. But first, I want to hear some of the sound from Donald Trump at that town hall that took place yesterday in the city of Philadelphia. So let's take a listen to some of the sound from that town hall from yesterday in the city of Philadelphia. Let's take a listen.
If you believe it's the president's responsibility to protect America, why would you downplay a pandemic that is known to disproportionately harm low-income families and minority communities?
Yeah. Well, I didn't downplay it. I actually, in many ways, I upplayed it in terms of action. My action was very strong. Yeah, because what I did was with China, I put a ban on. With Europe, I put a ban on. And we would have lost thousands of more people had I not put the ban on. So that was called action, not with the mouth, but in actual fact. We did a very, very good job when we put that ban on. Whether you call it talent or luck, it was very important. So we saved a lot of lives when we did that. If we didn't close the country, look, I created, we all created together. You helped everybody. The fact is, we created the greatest economy in the history of the world. Best employment numbers for African American, Asian American, Hispanic American, women, everything. The best employment, high school, no high school, college. We had the best economy we've ever had. 160 million people, almost, just short of 160 million people. We were never close. And then somebody comes in, and then somebody else, doctors, and they start talking about the pandemic and about closing. They want to close up our country. I said, wait a minute. We have the greatest country, the greatest economy, and it was coming together even in terms of unity because it was so successful that people that weren't getting along were starting to get along, George. That's the way we solved that problem. But we had the greatest economy ever, and we have to close it. If I didn't close it, I think you'd have 2 million deaths instead of having the 185, 190. It's a terrible number.
So that is Donald Trump. That is Donald Trump spinning the coronavirus crisis and saying that, look, you know, black people were doing better than they've ever done under the economy before the coronavirus. What he didn't say is that the black unemployment rate, just as it has been for the last 50 years, was twice that of the white unemployment rate. That racism persists. In employment, in the economy, in lending, in every facet of our society. And, you know, to say that, to try to take credit for closing the country when you did everything you could to make sure that nothing closed, and even now continue to have rallies with thousands of people pressed together when you know that this virus is airborne. You know that it is killing people by the thousands, and you continue to do that. I mean, he didn't really answer the question, but I want to know what you think. You give me a call, 215-634-8065. We only got a couple minutes left. Let's talk to Frida from East Oak Lane on line 2. Go ahead, Frida.
Good morning.
Good morning.
About relationships, I can't give 45 too much time, but my grandmother used to say, understanding is the best thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of added a couple things myself.
Yeah.
Which is expect to forgive, ask for forgiveness. And under no circumstances make anyone miserable, not allow anyone to make you miserable. For some people, they get up to a point, they can't get past, they won't get past whatever occurred.
Yeah.
If, however, as individuals and as a couple, you can step back, you can see where each one contributed, or if you can just see where the other person came from, you can recommit. And I think that's the key, the willingness to recommit. And if you're not willing, then you can be married 60 years, 50 years, 40 years. You don't really have a marriage. What you have is, you know, two people who are together, spending time. So that's pretty much what I would say with regard to, trying to make things work.
I love it. Love it. Thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. Randall from Ogons is on line 4. Go ahead, Randall.
Yeah, I'd like to say that settlement with Breonna Taylor it's not. I believe it's not justified. Matter of fact, I'm sure it's not justified because of the fact that a life had to be taken unjustly.
Mm-hmm.
You have to remember that she would never be able to produce kids any generation. So that's just a form of white privilege. So this is what I really think
All right.
needs to change as far as qualified immunity. It needs to be taken off the plate, and we need to hold signs up referring to that.
All right. I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. 215-634-8065, of course, is the number you can call to get in. Melissa's on line 3 on WURD. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Solomon. Good morning, Kwesa. So Donald Trump is a sorcerer, and that's how he's painted himself to be ever since people got to know Donald Trump. A sorcerer lies and repeats their lies over and over again. No one should expect anything other than sorcery from him. So to allow your mind to go to such a weakened state that you would believe the mouth of a sorcerer tells you all about Donald Trump, too. Breonna Taylor, $12 million for her family. Breonna was a frontline worker. She worked to save lives. So by punishing these officers, making an example out of them, letting the other officers know this will never be allowed again, that will save more lives. There's no amount of money that can satisfy, like the gentleman said before, her not continuing the bloodline and the legacy. $12 million, those gentlemen need to be punished, and they need to be held to the same standard that people every day are who participate in shooting. So those are my comments.
All right, Melissa, thanks so much. And we look forward to talking to you a little bit later on this week as well. Let's go back to the phone lines. Olanian is on line 1. Go ahead, Olanian.
Good morning. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I remember when Trump recognized the killing of Arbery of Georgia. Did he say anything about the killing of Breonna Taylor? And that's my
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know everything he said. But I hear you, and that's a good question. I'm not sure. I've never heard him say anything about Breonna Taylor, but I can't say with any certainty whether he said it or not because I don't know everything that he said. But I want to thank you so much for your call. Facebook. What are people saying this morning on Facebook? Of course, you can watch us there. You can weigh in there and let us know what you think. So what are people saying this morning, Kawesa, on Facebook?
Mish Pugh says the $12 million settlement for Breonna Taylor is a start, but it's not enough. Justice is fully served when there are consequences for the excessive force and senseless killing of blacks. Jumping here. Blacks policies need to be changed on all levels of government. So that's one comment that's there. Audrey Drummond is making I guess about an event that's later on. At Enon, they're giving out free milk and produce on Thursday at 10 a.m. So you can go over to Enon Tabernacle, get some free milk and produce tomorrow, Thursday, and that's the Enon Tabernacle, Cheltenham. Howard Harris, his handling of the virus is not why I am not voting for him. He is terrible at presidency even before this epidemic. His remark about critical race theory studies, in my mind, is the nail in his coffin. So that's another comment. And then also Phyllis William, okay, never mind, I'm sorry, I'm trying to scroll through. Shirley Vaughn Curry, this man is delusional, so that's another comment. Diane Gray saying, believing and trusting in God helps to keep relationships together as well, so that's another comment. And you know, the other thing, Solomon, as well, is that, you know, Justine Damon, she actually was killed by a black officer, and her family got $20 million. So yeah, I really don't think that $12 million is enough. I don't, because why is her life more valuable and I hate to even say it like that, but why is her life more valuable than Breonna Taylor's?
Yeah.
So, and Justine Damon, and she shouldn't have been killed either, but, she was white, and Breonna Taylor was black. And so, $12 million is not enough, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. So I want to hear from you. Give us a call, 215-634-8065. That is 215-634-8065. We got a couple minutes left. If you want to get in, you can call now and let us know where you are on these various things that we are talking about on this morning's show. Let's go right to the phone lines and get Dennis from West Philly on line 1. Go ahead, Dennis.
Yeah, Solomon, good morning. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome, brother.
Real quick, about the town hall meeting. My opinion is that this is no time for African Americans to be like being cute or coy.
Yeah.
We've been thrown a lifeline. And you might think it's the lesser of two evils, but, this is what we had. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and others. And so we have to take advantage of this opportunity because we know what the alternative is. Mm-hmm. That would be 4 more years of Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so this is it. Mm-hmm. We can't throw our vote away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We have to make every vote count. And that's all I have to say.
All right. I want to thank you so much for your call this morning on WURD Radio. Let's go to Miss Hattie from West Philly on line 2. Go ahead, Miss Hattie.
Hi, Solomon.
How you doing?
Listen, as far as the money is concerned, I think Breonna's parents should have gotten more, but I don't blame them for accepting it. And people forgetting, they also said, Breonna's mother and Attorney Crum said that they will not stop fighting until those wrongful police officers are prosecuted in jail. So they got the money, and they still are going to prosecute those cops. And as far as Trump, excuse me, Solomon, I had to.
That's all right. Go ahead.
Halls in my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Trump was last night, Trump was the same old lying donkey behind, manipulating self, blaming Biden, Obama, and everybody else wrongdoings. It was like he was just adding, enhancing, and emphasizing his lies on the questions that were asked of him, and using transference onto Biden and Obama, thinking it makes him look better. Well, just about everyone by now knows he's a liar. And what really got me is when the young lady asked him what took him so long to address the issue of the COVID-19 coronavirus. He was straight by the 70 days delay while he was blaming Democrats for trying to make him look bad and still dealing with the issue. And also during that time, thousands of people were being affected and dying from the COVID-19 virus. And I just want to say, please, everybody, please get this ignoramus out of office before he completely destroy this United States of America. I mean, just go out and vote, please. November the 3rd, go out and vote. Thank you, Solomon.
All right. Thank you for your call this morning on WURD. We appreciate it. As always, that is going to do it for today's show on WURD Radio. I want to thank all of our guests, including Temple journalism professor Lynn Washington, reporter Michaela Winberger, Billy Penn, and your favorite cousin of mine, dear Melanie. And now, for super producer Gawesa Mathis and everyone here at WURD Radio, I am your host, Solomon Jones, saying stay tuned for Reality Check with Charles Ellison, and tune in tomorrow at 7 for more Wake Up with Word. Peace.
Start every Sunday the right way.
With Sunday Morning Praise.
Hosted by the Reverend Louise Williams Bishop. Every Sunday morning beginning at 6 a.m. Right here on WURD 96.1 FM.